If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Oh, a Football Friday edition of the show. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Cole Bartemus in for Bo and Reese today. Glad to have you along on this Football Friday. We have a pretty good show in store today, Bids. Not only will we've got a jam-packed weekend of bowl games. We'll do a little Friday edition of Know the Scores here on some of these bowl games coming up at 10:30 today. We'll also talk to Jody Shelly, do a little Shelly time at 11. The Jackets with a big back-to-back with the Boston Bruins tonight at home and then on the road tomorrow in Boston. They've got a New Year's Eve game as well. Those are always fun over in Nationwide against the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll get Jody's take on the whole Patrick Laine situation as well. And then Matt Preem, who covers the Oregon Ducks for 24/7 Sports. He will join us at 11:33 to get a little preview of the Rose Bowl with Oregon and Ohio State, the big matchup. Man, Bids, we had an exciting Thursday night football game last night, didn't we?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, if you needed to go to bed early, which I hear you did, that was the perfect game for you.
It really was. I don't even think I realized that there was a Thursday night football game on last night. The Bears just do nothing for me, honestly, but 6-3
Their
last
offense
night.
does nothing either.
The Seahawks offense didn't do much either last night.
It didn't. It's good seeing Jack. I mean, not that he had like a big game yesterday, but it's good seeing Jackson Smith and Jigba break out with a huge season. But you're right. That was a boring football game last night. Not that surprising. We see a lot of duds on Thursday night. You get teams that are already really bad, at least a team that's really bad, against a mediocre team. We just see so many bad Thursday night games, Ryan. It's ridiculous.
Our man Cole in there did some great research on this game last night, and the Bears have lost 10 in a row now. Probably, you'd have to think, 11 in a row, unless Green Bay just sits everyone next week when they take on the Packers. Obviously, Green Bay with a big one against the Minnesota Vikings that could possibly determine whether they sit some people next week against the Bears or not. The Commanders, a 1.5 lead over the Seahawks now in the NFC wild card, and the Rams have a half-game lead over the Seahawks. And the Rams, let me pull this up real quick. They have got...
They're playing the Cardinals?
Yes, the Cardinals. The Rams and the Cardinals this week. So the Cardinals already eliminated. They don't have a ton to play for here other than spoiler, and that's one that 7-point favorites the Rams are in that game. That seems a little high to me for that game, but Arizona with Kyler and Marv, we know they've got some offensive ability, James Conner as well, so the Seahawks and the Rams could be tied for the lead in the NFC West here heading into the last week, and who would have thought that?
Yeah, the Cardinals, it's interesting because they're coming off where's their mental state going to be? Because that was a tough loss for them. I mean, really, Carolina led for most of that game, but you lose to the Panthers in a game where really you could have solidified, not completely, but put yourself in a really good position to make the playoffs, and you lose to the Panthers in overtime after you have a nice comeback. You wonder where their mental state is now that they've been eliminated. James Conner's banged up. I don't know if he's been ruled out, but he's at least questionable. That won't help the cause for them. But Kyler's had a little bit of a comeback year, hasn't he? It looked like he was going to be, I don't know if I'd go say he had a one-way ticket to Bustville. I never felt that way about him, but it wasn't looking good. And then he got injured. And there was all the talk about how like he wasn't really good in the locker room. You never want to hear that about a quarterback. You can be a diva and be a wide receiver or a corner. You know what I mean, Ryan? You can't be a diva and be a good quarterback. Now people say, what about Aaron Rodgers? may I submit to the court that Aaron Rodgers didn't become a complete diva until after he became a Super Bowl winner. He was actually
at least we didn't know about it.
Right? He kept his diva-ness under wraps. But if you're a complete diva as a quarterback, you're not going to do well. So, yeah, man, it's definitely interesting.
Our guy Cole in there, he's a Steelers fan, and like if the Steelers can't keep you under wraps anymore and they're ready to get rid of you, everybody runs. So like the Steelers are the best at that, of keeping someone in check as long as they possibly can, and then they cut bait, Cole.
Yeah, and Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, we've been Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool was actually really good for the Steelers, to start.
It was a good trade for the Steelers, too, getting Joey Porter Jr. say, thanks, Chicago Bears.
And listen, there's going to be a time in 4 years when they're ready to cut bait with George Pickens and somebody's going to be tantalized by his ability. Run the other way. Stay
It might
away.
be this offseason, right? Because this is a contract year for him. He's entering the last year of his rookie deal. If you're going to, maybe this offseason's a time you make a deal for if someone's going to give you something good for him, which I wish they would.
I think this is year 3, so we got one more.
That's what I mean. Like, that's what I mean. Next year would be his. So he's going into the final year. Yes. So next year. So this offseason with 1 year left, you almost have to make the decision. You don't have to. You do risk him holding out, which a lot of guys do, even in his position.
Knowing him too.
Exactly. You almost have to make the decision if you're the Steelers going into the offseason. Do we want to keep this guy or do we want to trade him?
Well, I would think that I'm guessing he's not to that point yet where he's a total locker room disruptor.
Right.
As
he's getting
now,
there.
but
Well, he's also the guy who scrubs his Instagram feed every time he's upset for not getting enough targets.
That's just kids nowadays, right, Cole? I mean, they don't know any better. That's all they've grown up and lived with. But speaking of the Rams, though, and the Seahawks, going back to last night's game, those two play each other next week with the NFC West on the line. So the NFL does a great job of scheduling those things to try to get those matchups. I thought it was funny last night, and I didn't pay attention to the game very much, but Al Michaels at the end of the game taking a little shot at both teams, actually.
Kirk, you realize earlier this season, my men, George Hill and Malibu Kelly Hayes telling me Seattle beat Chicago earlier this year, 6-3.
In a soccer game?
No, Mariners beat the White Sox in Chicago on July 29th. There you go. History repeats.
History repeating.
I did hear that. I heard that live because I remember Herbie saying, like, in a soccer game?
It's too funny there by Al Michaels taking a little shot at both teams and the lack of offense. If you like defense, though, maybe that was the game for you. A little bit of more NFL news coming out yesterday. The Cowboys shutting down CeeDee Lamb for the rest of the year. CeeDee Lamb has been dealing with a shoulder injury since the beginning of November. It sounds like the injury got a little bit worse. They got nothing to play for right now. This is, I don't know how many franchise players the Cowboys have. You'd have to think Micah Parsons is one of them. CeeDee Lamb is definitely a franchise player for them. There's no sense in getting him hurt the rest of the way. We talked about this the other day. Is it time to rest starters, like take starters out if you got nothing to play for? And we were both like, no, we don't really like that. But in a situation like this, you cannot afford to let this man do permanent damage to a shoulder. So you got to sit him down for the last two.
I was so impressed with his toughness. If he's not already doesn't already own that locker room, and along with other leaders like Micah Parsons, he sure does now. I mean, I was watching that game, and there was at least 2 or 3 times I'm like, oh, geez. Because he came into the game with a really, banged up shoulder. He kept landing on it after making big plays. I'm like, okay, he's not going to come back now. He'd be in severe pain going over the sideline. Trainers would be talking to him. He'd be grimacing. And then 2 plays later, he'd be back in the game, making a big play and then somehow falling on his right shoulder, even though he's trying not to. Because you got dudes running 4.440s trying to knock you on your butt. So how you want to fall is not necessarily how you're going to fall. But I was so impressed with his toughness, Ryan. I knew, obviously, he's not, that he's a tough guy. You don't get to where he is as an NFL receiver and not be tough. But he was ultra tough. But they're making the right move because it seemed like maybe he already had damaged his shoulder pretty good. Hopefully nothing serious that's going to limit him next year. But they made the right move in shutting him down. If I hadn't seen that game last week, I might not have a strong opinion on it. But, man, it looked like I said 2 or 3 times that he was knocked out of that game and he kept coming back. So they're doing the right thing here.
Bids were 17th week of the NFL season here. and I know we didn't talk about this or anything, but just off the cuff, because we're talking the Cowboys, and this is such a disappointing, and maybe I think, obviously, there was injuries involved here, but they weren't playing great even when Dak was in. It's been a disappointing, surprising season for them. What's the biggest surprise in the NFL to you this year? Just off the top of your head.
Oh, geez. See, I'm biased, but I feel like the Bengals should be a playoff team. The Bengals getting off to such a bad start, and they're going to miss the play. I know they still mathematically have a chance. They're getting historically good seasons from Burrow and Chase, and they are going to miss the playoffs. So that's the first one that comes to mind. And then I would say the Vikings, on a good note. They've more than doubled, I believe, their win total. They're like the Indiana Hoosiers of the NFL. Hopefully it ends better for the Vikings than it did Indiana. But where Indiana came in with 5.5 wins as their over-under for win totals, and they doubled that. I believe the Vikings have doubled or more their win total. Nobody expected anything from the Vikings, and they're having a tremendous year. So those are my two. I'm sure I'm leaving some stuff out. What about you?
I think the first one that comes to mind to me is the 49ers, and obviously I think that's injury-based, but everybody had them winning the NFC West, one of the favorites for the Super Bowl. And I didn't believe in the Browns. I thought they would finish last in the AFC North. I didn't see 3-12 coming, though. I did not see that at all. I was thinking more like 7-10 type of season, and that would be last in the North. 3-12, though, very disappointing.
Injuries, trades.
Lack of quarterbacks.
Pretty
bad.
Can I give you one more positive surprise?
Give me a positive.
The Commanders drafting second overall and now being a playoff team with a new head coach, too. And so, Dan Quinn obviously made a Super Bowl, should have won a Super Bowl in Atlanta, but very unceremoniously had to leave there because the latter years were so bad. But this is a great first year of the Dan Quinn era in Washington.
Great, and that's totally tied. Well, not totally, but a lot to how Jaden Daniels has played. I think you could also throw Bo Nix in there as well for the Broncos, having them in a playoff position, fighting for one at least there. That's been a little shocking to some. A little shocking, some of the lack of respect Ohio State is getting. We'll talk about that next. It's Ryan Baker, it's Dave Biddle, it's Cole Bartimus, and it's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
We're back on the Nada Yada Island Confessions Show. Benny is about to tell us how he found two loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to Metro, I found iPhone 12 and Apple Watch SE.
At Metro, get the perfect match of both iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. You heard that right. Both for just $99.99. Holidays with Nada Yada Yada. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number and ID, sign up for Metro Flex Plus, and add a watch line. Not available if you're with T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days. Limit 2 per account.
Make the most of your holidays with the Kroger app. You can enjoy over $600 in digital coupons every week. Get access to low prices and earn fuel points to save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. The Kroger app makes it easy to save this holiday season. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on DiGiorno Pizza. Select varieties are on sale for only $3.99 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
What are your plans this winter? Snowy walk in the park? Curl up by the fire with a nice book? Get stuck in the hospital with COVID-19? If that last one isn't in your plans, and surely it's not, then consider getting an updated vaccine. Because if you're 65 or older, you're 14 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19 than someone under 50. So get your updated vaccine and make the most of this winter. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Our clients deserve for us to care, and they deserve to feel serviced. They have questions, and they deserve answers. We're counselors first because I'm not selling them anything. I'm trying to teach clients how to protect themselves. At Curtis & Associates, we're personal injury attorneys. We've helped and continue to help hundreds and hundreds of clients every year. That's important to us. If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, call now. 614-GOT-HURT. That's 614-GOT-HURT. Curtis & Associates. Attorneys who care.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from Classic 3-Cheese, Pepperoni, or Extreme Meat Pizza. Save big with a $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 1/7/25. See app for full terms.
We're dealing at Reichert Ford. Hundreds of Fords in stock and priced to sell fast. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com.
Right car at Reichert.
We're dealing.
Hey, Jackets fans, we know what's on your holiday wish list. Ask your Secret Santa for a Blue Jackets holiday gift pack. You'll score 2 tickets plus a Blue Jackets Highlight shirt, all for just $99. Learn more at bluejackets.com/holiday.
Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward here, and last time this year I was down 43 pounds after just 2 months with Awaken 180. I broke into the new year at my goal of 50 pounds down. It felt great, and it still does. Get the same results at awaken180weightloss.com.
What's the best way to make sure you don't miss any of your favorite fan shows? Oh no! Download the Fan app, silly.
Ah, damn it, I knew that.
App Store, Google Play, or just scream right at your phone. Psst, you can also listen to Buckeye games. Do it now.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Do you have foot pain? Foot pain is not normal regardless of your age or job. Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet and can provide important foot care solutions or shoe inserts to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. We've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy, a bit breezy and warmer this afternoon with temperatures in the low 50s. A few showers through the late afternoon and evening, tapering off overnight. Saturday, a warm day, highs in the low 60s, mostly cloudy. Rain overnight Saturday into Sunday. Sunday stays warm with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
The Fan is live and local with Morning Juice, Caffeinate, and Dominate.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Glad to be in for Bishop and Friends on this Football Friday. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Cole Bartemus all here with you. Just got done talking about a rough Thursday night football game. Listen, we've talked about the NFL ruling the world, and we're going to talk about that a little more coming up in What's Up as well. The NFL's had some showcase games here recently this week. None of them were great games, Bids, unfortunately. We're still watching, but they were not. It was not great football from the NFL so far this week.
No, and at least the Christmas Day games, I'm sure a lot of people had gambling interests, fantasy football interests, but the football itself, not a lot of close games.
Listen,
last night was a close game. It was just boring. Yes.
Yeah, and not an offensive game, at least. Maybe if you're into defensive football. It is pretty good for the Buckeyes right now as they win their first round college football playoff game, dominating Tennessee 42-17, setting up the rematch in the Rose Bowl coming up here 5 days from now. I can't believe we're that close. 5 days from Ohio State and Oregon in Pasadena. But there's some Buckeyes here that seem to be getting the short end of the stick. Let's start with Jeremiah Smith. We know Jeremiah Smith, the first team All Big Ten player this year. He was freshman of the year in the Big Ten. He's broke every Ohio State freshman receiving record that had 63 catches on the year, over 1,000 yards, and 13 total touchdowns. I believe 12 of those are through the air. He's got one on the ground, too. But Jeremiah Smith was not named the Freshman of the Year in college football. It's the Sean Alexander Award, and it has gone to Texas freshman edge rusher Colin Simmons. Now, Bids, I don't know about you. I had not heard of Colin Simmons before he won this award yesterday.
I had not heard of him either, and, delving deeper into this, he would have made an excellent choice for runner-up for the award. I mean, but listen, man, I stopped getting mad about this a long time ago because I know how the sausage is made. Let's take the Biletnikoff Award, for example. Now, they finally woke up and gave it to Marvin Harrison Jr., but a lot of times this is just a committee of dudes that just do whatever the heck they want. Like, for example, the Biletnikoff Award, guess where that's located, like where their committee is? Tallahassee, Florida. So I just think, we have a Columbus Touchdown Club here. The Columbus Touchdown Club should take the matter into their own hands and just say, okay, we're going to have a National Freshman of the Year per the Columbus Touchdown Club. Because that's what a lot of this is. I mean, a lot of this is just, a lot of these awards, are basically decided on by small committees in the South. So is this ridiculous? Yes. Am I going to get mad about it? No.
Colin Simmons, and we mentioned he's an edge rusher for Texas, 39 tackles on the year. But what do we want edge rushers to do? We want them to get to the quarterback. We want them to make tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He did do a good job of that. 13 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. He also forced 3 fumbles and had 1 interception. Only 39 tackles, though. That's not a ton of tackles. He was disruptive for Texas, at least, but I don't think it's Jeremiah Smith's level of impact. Like, Ohio State goes into games, and people are keen on stopping this kid, and they can't do it. The only thing that can stop Jeremiah Smith is Ohio State not targeting him in the second half of the Michigan game.
And not only did Jeremiah Smith put up just sparkling stats for a true freshman receiver, he did it with having to share the ball with Emeka Egbuka, who, knocking on the door to get 1,000 yards himself. Carnell Tate, got a decent amount of run as a number 3 receiver. Last time I checked, both running backs got a lot of run. So it's not like it was just like Marvin kind of like last year, when Emeka was, especially when Emeka was banged up, it was like their offense was like, throw the ball to Marvin, throw the ball to Marvin. And it wasn't even like that with Jeremiah. He had to share the wealth, and he still showed out. And He was the focal point of at least every secondary they went after. And, I mean, he just dominated that Tennessee game. So, yeah, he's definitely the best freshman in college football. I'm sure if you took a poll of people that actually know what they're talking about, let's say head coaches that we all trust in college football, I bet you 100% of them would say Jeremiah Smith. But this kid at Alabama is definitely a good player. I don't mind the low tackle totals because those can be misleading. He's definitely disruptive, but I just can't imagine there's a better freshman out there than Jeremiah Smith. I know we're doing this in Columbus, Ohio, but I don't think this is a case of bias. I know what I've seen out of Jeremiah Smith. It's not just the stats. It's the stats coupled with the fact he's had to share the rock with so many other talented players on this offense, and it's the way he's done it. And think about some of the plays that showed up that he doesn't even get credit for when they throw the ball in the end zone, and the wise move by the DB is like, well, I'm either going to give up a touchdown or tackle him, so I'm going to tackle him and get to 15 yards because it's not like the NFL. You don't get the ball at the 1. How many more touchdowns and yards would he have if we counted those pass interference? So, geez, again, I hearken back to this, Ryan Baker, my friend. Is it dumb? Yes. Am I going to get mad about it? No.
G. Scott Sr. also said he had never heard of Colin Simmons. He says, with all due respect, I've never heard the name Colin Simmons before today. Now, that's no knock on the kid. I believe when they say that he's good. I'm just saying that before today, I've never heard the name. Now, Jeremiah Smith, we mentioned Big Ten Freshman of the Year. He was also Big Ten Receiver of the Year, second-team All-American, according to Walter Camp, the Walter Camp Football Foundation. So Jeremiah Smith obviously getting his accolades. Unfortunately, though, doesn't get the Freshman of the Year award, which it seems like he probably would have been a good one.
And again, this is the Sean Alexander National Freshman of the Year. I was just saying about the Biletnikoff Award being from the South. What do you want to bet the Sean Alexander Award is from Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
So, listen, I'm not even joking. We're talking about a committee of probably old dudes around, nothing against old dudes sitting around smoking cigars and stuff. That sounds like something my dad would do, and there's nothing against that. That's what we're talking about. Some old guys sitting around just doing whatever they want to do, throwing logic out the window. That's how stuff like this happens. So Columbus Touchdown Club, you guys do a great job. How about you guys create a National Freshman of the Year award? That way we don't have to rely on these Southern boys screwing this stuff up for us.
Now, Dave, this one might be a little more concerning here. Tony Gerdeman of Buckeye Huddle, he shared this stat recently The Ohio State defensive line has drawn one holding penalty the entire season. That came in the Western Michigan game when Jack Sherwin, one of their offensive tackles, held Caden Curry in the first quarter. That was the second game of the season.
13 games, one time on Ohio State player.
A defensive line player.
Yes.
So opponents have been penalized 3 times, just 3 times for holding this season all year. The other 2, one was against linebacker Sonny Styles in the Marshall game. The other was against Caleb Downs in the Michigan State. So since then...
So none of the games that actually matter.
None.
Games that the Ohio State could have won with like both arms tied behind their back. That is a staggering stat. To go through 13 football games, have one time holding called on your opposition on a defensive lineman, and only 2 times the rest. I've never seen that stat before. 13 games, 3 called holding penalties.
Not one since September 28th. Not one holding call since then.
If I'm Ryan Day and the staff, I think good coaches do this, I'm making sure I'm in the ear of the official before the game against Oregon.
Absolutely.
You know,
Ohio State ranks 134th, dead last in college football in opponent penalties per game at 3.6. Penn State, Michigan State are at 3.8. Georgia Tech, Northwestern are at 3.9. The Buckeyes with Texas and TCU are the only 3 programs that have been ranked outside the top 100 in opponent penalties per game in the past 4 seasons. Jack Sawyer, you want to go a little crazier on this? The last time Jack Sawyer drew a holding call, September 18th, 2021 against Tulsa.
When he was a true freshman. Early in his true freshman season, that's the last time Jack Sawyer's drawn a holding penalty. Jeez. I tell you what, these tackles have just done a great job blocking him. It's always been clean. And listen, I'm not even talking about the ticky-tack. I know that the old adage, you can call holding on every play. I'm talking, we've seen guys get tackled, jerseys getting, like, yanked off almost, and no calls. It's like, it's overboard. Now the coaches have got to get in the ear of the official and be like, can you help us out here? Our guys are getting killed up front.
And we mentioned Ohio State loses by a point on the road to Oregon. They lost the turnover battle, and surprise, surprise, according to this, they lost the penalty battle that night too. So you're right. Before the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, I don't know who the officiating crew is, but Ryan talked about scouting the officiating crew before the Tennessee game. It was an ACC crew, their tendencies and what like that. I'd have a serious discussion with those guys before we kicked off the football on Wednesday in Pasadena. That's for sure. LeBron James, we thought we knew it. Now it's proven. He was wrong. What's up next? Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Dormar, your pilot hero. Man, it's cold in here. Dad, did you call Dormar to have your yearly furnace maintenance?
Call who?
Dormar.
Huh?
Call Dormar.
Gosh, bless it, Red. He said to close the garage door more.
You two are unbelievable. I'm calling Dormar.
Tell them to bring me a filter.
You did hear me, right?
Yep, but your mom doesn't need to know.
Call 614-238-6689.
Dormar, your pilot hero.
Toyota-thon is on, and it's the perfect time to wrap up the year with a new RAV4, America's best-selling SUV. Now through January 6th, get 4.99 APR financing on a new 24 or 25 RAV4 or RAV4 Hybrid. Excludes RAV4 Prime. Or lease a gas-powered 25 RAV4 LE for $299 a month for 39 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS, tax title and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations: Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
Well, LeBron James was wrong. And you know what? We knew he was. But you got to give him credit for trying, for sticking up and fighting for his league. But he said, obviously, the other day, I love the NFL. I love it as much as anybody, but Christmas Day is ours. And guess what? The NBA actually did pretty good in their ratings on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is not yours, though, Mr. LeBron. And if the NFL wants a day, they're going to take a day. And they set all kinds of records with their Christmas Day games on Netflix. And Bids, just imagine if these games would have been good. Maybe these ratings would have been even more. But Netflix sets the records as the most streamed NFL games in U.S. history. Now, we mentioned the NBA. They were good, too. They had its best holiday numbers in 5 years, according to Nielsen. The NFL and Nielsen have said 65 million U.S. viewers tuned in for at least 1 minute of the 2 NFL games. The Ravens' victory over the Texans averaged 24.3 million, and the Chiefs' win at the Steelers averaged 24.1 million. Bids, this is 10 million more just about than we just talked about with the Saturday NFL games last week going head-to-head with the college football playoffs. These numbers are staggering.
Yeah, and the fact that the games are on Netflix makes it even more staggering. Now, I realize that, many people obviously have Netflix, but you would think the ratings would be not quite as good as they would be if the game was on, let's just say, like NBC or whatever, Fox or CBS. But they topped the ratings for last year's Christmas games. So really impressive, especially as you mentioned, Ryan, the fact that the games weren't even close. The NFL's king. This is why I wonder if LeBron's comments were taken out of context. I don't think, or just misunderstood. I don't think he was saying, we own Christmas, it should be ours, and the ratings are gonna prove it. I think he knows. I think it was more like he wasn't crying. I think it was more like, well, it should be ours. Like the NFL's gonna come in and steal all of our ratings. I think he knows that the NFL's king.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was wrong. I think he
He was just fighting for his league, saying Christmas Day has always been ours. It should be ours.
Stay
away.
Here.
Exactly.
That genie's not going back in the bottle, LeBron. Like the NFL's like, no, we can do whatever we want, and we're going to.
The viewership peaked, actually, though, during the 13-minute halftime performance of the Ravens-Texans game.
That was your favorite part.
When Beyonce was on the screen. I don't even think I saw any of that other than clips on the internet after. 27 million viewers there. The previous mark that was the tops for the streaming was 23 million. That was last year's AFC wildcard game between the Dolphins and the Chiefs that was on Peacock. I can only imagine. We know the bidding wars that go on for the NFL, and I'm sure Netflix paid a pretty penny.
150 million for both games. I think it was 150 million total for both games.
And it was probably well worth it for them, obviously. Not only for the fact that maybe people are adding Netflix. I don't know how many people don't have Netflix anymore. Like, I actually don't have Netflix.
You don't?
But I was with somebody who obviously had it. But I also maybe hypothetically might have something at my house that I can get whatever I want.
You could if you needed to. You don't, but you could if hypothetically.
That's possible. Hypothetically, what if someone had something like that?
Exactly, something like that.
But, so I don't know how many new subscribers Netflix got from this, but they obviously got the views. They've got ad money for the games. And guess what? we're talking about it right now.
Yes, and I'm all for it. I never liked it was just NBA on. And I know this wasn't the first years we've talked about. They've done this the last couple of years on Christmas. Has it just been the last 2 years? Last 3 years? I don't know. They started doing it either 2 or 3 years ago, and I absolutely love it. And it's just great having football on. Because, like, Christmas at my house, like, we get all of the traveling done. And I think a lot of other people are like this too. Or even if you are traveling, you get a lot of the stuff done with the kids early or whatever you're doing, and then by like noon, it's like pretty much all of the festivities are over, as far as the actual, opening presents and all that stuff. Like, I need a little football in my life. And now, the NFL is delivering on Christmas Day. I love that.
So the numbers actually went down a little bit from last Christmas. They had 3 games last year on Christmas, but those, they averaged 28.68 million viewers. The afternoon contest between the Raiders and the Chiefs actually led the way with 29.48 million. That was on CBS. So I wonder, obviously, this thing with Netflix, they paid a lot of money to the NFL for it. I'm guessing this is just going to cause a even more bidding war for time slots for the NFL. Like, I don't know where the Christmas games are slated to be played next year, but you would have to think, obviously, the NFL is in bed with Amazon Prime. They'll be trying to get in this. Netflix will want to stay involved. And you'd have to think that CBS and ESPN, ABC, NBC, they're all going to try to be getting a piece of this action. They're just going to keep, the numbers are going to keep going up and up and up. And what if you're a small streaming service that's not, that's around that not a lot of people have, but you want to get people to buy? Aren't you going to be trying to throw money as much as you can, if you have it, to get one of these games to try to get the eyeballs and more viewers on your streaming service?
Yeah, and it's funny, Ryan, because as we know, like, live sports has always been king as far as like cable or whatever, satellite, whatever you want to talk about, streaming. But it gets like amplified with each passing year. Like, it's like absolute gold. Like, live sports is absolute gold, and you and I being sports enthusiasts, it's been cool to see, because it's always been like that, but it's now like that, but on steroids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and for Netflix, the only thing that they've ever done that was bigger than this was the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight that happened just a few months ago, which was probably really good for them because they were able to work out a lot of the kinks that they had during that. And there was just a small glitch at the beginning with some audio.
Yeah.
Other than that, it seemed like these broadcasts, even with all the viewers, went off without a hitch. So it's probably a good thing that Netflix did that just back in November so they could get a test run for all of this.
I thought the exact same thing, man. Like, if you're going to, have your hiccups, do it during a fake boxing match, not NFL games. So, as soon as I saw they chose Kay Adams as their lead studio host, I'm thinking, okay, they're already making good decisions.
Now, we talked about the NBA.
No comment. Not a Kay Adams fan?
I love Kay Adams.
Oh, okay.
She's awesome.
You just like, okay, moving right along.
I was just looking, and I've got a one-track mind here, and I can only think of one thing at a time. The NBA, it was a really good day for them, regardless of whatever the NFL did. The NBA, a rise of 84% in viewership over 2023. All 5 of their games were on ABC this year, which probably contributed to that. Last year, only 2 of them were on there. The LeBron James, Steph Curry, Lakers, Golden State Warriors matchup averaged 7.76 million viewers and peaked with about 8.32. The other games averaged right around 5.25. So, a really good day for the NBA. Maybe LeBron wasn't totally wrong. People were still looking for the NBA, and they found it, and they tuned in. It just pales in comparison to what the NFL does.
If I'm the NBA, I'm thrilled with this because you're not going to, if you're reasonable, you're not going to beat the NFL or even close. You just are worried about your own numbers and, are they going to exceed maybe your projections? I imagine these did exceed their projections. So I'm happy if I'm the NBA with these ratings.
It's going to be interesting, too, what the final numbers, like globally, for Netflix does, because this is just the U.S. base. The global numbers and all of that won't come out. I would have to think it's going to be even more staggering.
Well, I just saw, it's funny you brought that up. I saw something this morning. So there's 190 different countries where Netflix has subscribers, and they said They didn't give an exact number, but they said, and there was a story in The Athletic about this. I think Richard Deitch did it. And they said of the 190, almost all countries, at least somebody there tuned into the game. So, hey, man, we're finally making American football international. Not really. But, it's way bigger than people thinking like Mexico. I think maybe people know that now. NFL football is huge in Mexico. It's really grown a lot in Germany. I used to think it was never really going to grow in England. Apparently it has. It's never going to come anywhere in the stratosphere of soccer, or as they call football. But, they've actually done a good job of growing the game. Like, people in Germany are like, they love the NFL. Again, nowhere near as much as they love soccer, but they really love their NFL football in Germany, which is crazy to me.
And they obviously don't get games every week like we do here. But when the NFL does travel to London and Germany and these other places, those stadiums are packed and they get, you look in the stands and it's not just the two colors of the teams. The people wear their favorite jerseys wherever because they're just going to an NFL game because it's something new to them. I wonder if that's one thing the NFL, if we're ever going to have to worry about, if they're going to get to a point where we're playing games on every day, that it's just too much. I don't know if that's possible. It sure doesn't seem like it with the ratings, but will they ever get to a point like, man, we've got a CVS on every corner. How can we keep all of these open? I don't think it's going to get there, but could they oversaturate the market?
They could. I don't think they're going to go there because the only times it seems like they go like overboard, which I don't think it is. When people are like, they're having 2 games on a Wednesday. How can they do that? It's because it's Christmas. They don't do that random times during the season. Yeah. It's just special times. Now, if they were doing that all the time during the regular season, yes, a lot of people, myself included, think the Thursday game, now it's not going to go away. It's a nice moneymaker for them. It's not going away, but the Thursday product is usually pretty bad. So, yes, let's say they added a Tuesday game. And I know they've had Tuesday games before because they've had to because there was a Monday night game got, snowed out or whatever it might be. But if they did that consistently, Ryan, they were having games every day. Yeah, I think even, ardent NFL fans like myself, that'd be way too much. A little bridge too far there, Ryan Baker.
Maction is saying stay away from Tuesday. That's our day, that's for sure. That's right. Hey, there are some former NFL players that are trying to be NFL players again, and other former NFL players making moves. We'll discuss that next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, it's Anthony, and the Happy Honda Days are powering through the holidays at Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich is delivering all of the new Honda toys, including the new Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda at 0% APR up to 72 months. Also, he's throwing you 0.9% up to 60 months on most new Hondas. And he won't even require a payment on the new purchases for 90 days. Go get the Honda of your holiday dreams with my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. We're back on the Nada Yada Island Confessions Show. Benny is about to tell us how he found 2 loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to Metro, I found iPhone 12 and Apple Watch SE.
At Metro, get the perfect match of both iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. You heard that right. Both for just $99.99. Holidays with Nada Yada Yada. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number and ID, sign up for Metro Flex Plus, and add a watch line. Not available if you're with T-Mobile or pay with Metro in the past 180 days. Limit 2 per account.
In the U.S., there are about 60 million adults 65 and older. And last year, nearly 1 million of them were hospitalized due to flu, COVID, or RSV. That's nearly 1 million people who planned to go visit family or see friends, but ended up in the hospital instead. So get this season's vaccines and don't let flu, COVID, or RSV make you just another number.
Risk less. Do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Better is around the corner in 2025. Feeling better, getting rid of joint pain once and for all. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. QC Kinetics patients are able to walk up and down the stairs like my dad, tailgate with their friends. They can finally sleep without pain waking them up. That aching, they can feel normal again. That can be you. 2025 can look very different than what the past years have looked. So call QC Kinetics and say goodbye to the shoulder, the knee, the hip, the back, whatever's aching you. QC Kinetics and Dr. Ray Tezer and his team, they're waiting for your call with the treatments right in the office with no downtime, no drugs, no surgeries. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting relief. No steroid shots. And if you've been told surgery is your only option, well, check out a second opinion and go check out QC Kinetics. The consultation is free. Go to QC Kinetics/Columbus, or even better yet, call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544 with offices in Dublin and Gahanna.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yes, it is. No Bishop, though. And just other friends today. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Cole Bartimus. Glad to have you along on this Football Friday, 5 days away from the rematch we've all been waiting for, Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl. We'll get into that a little later on in the show, talk about some of the advantages that Ohio State has in this game and some of the advantages that Oregon has coming up in this game. Also coming up at 11 o'clock, Jody Shelly, a little Shelly time. The Jackets taking on the Bruins over at Nationwide tonight. And then at 11:30, Matt Preem, who covers the Oregon Ducks for 24/7 Sports, will join us to get a little perspective from the Oregon side of things in this Rose Bowl matchup. Bids, you know, I love high school football. I love covering it. I love watching it. I love everything about high school football. It's like the purest form of sport. The younger we are, the youth ages and into high school, it's literally the purest form of sport. Most of the kids are playing it because they love the game, and most of them are never going to go on again after they step off that high school football field and play. So it's pretty awesome to me. So this story about Teddy Bridgewater is pretty cool. He retired from football. He became a head football coach at Miami Northwestern Senior High, which is where he played. It's a Class 3A program in Florida. And earlier this month, Teddy Bridgewater coached them to a state championship in Florida. And now Teddy Bridgewater is unretiring. He's signing on with the Detroit Lions for the rest of the season, and he's trying to win a Super Bowl championship before he heads back to Miami Northwestern and coaches again next season.
That is a fantastic story. He's always been a really good guy, and you wonder if he didn't get hurt early in his career.
Devastating knee injury.
Exactly. I mean, he was a heck of a player at Louisville, and right? Was he? Yeah, he was Louisville.
Yeah.
They've produced some pretty good quarterbacks, huh? Lamar Jackson. That's an awesome story, man. To go down there, not just to be successful, but to win a state championship. And if you're winning a state championship in Florida, your team's pretty good. They got some good high school football down there. So really cool. And now he's, hopefully they don't need him. But, if he's able to get to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl, that'd be really cool.
And if you're the Lions, this is a great get for your locker room. And it's also a great get for a guy you drafted, I believe in the second round, Hendon Hooker, who was out of Tennessee. Teddy Bridgewater and Hendon Hooker, a lot of people compared the two for a while with the way they played and their style of quarterback play, similar size. And Hendon Hooker is a guy that you draft, could develop to behind Jared Goff. Maybe he could be your next quarterback, or he's just a really good backup for you for years to come. But Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is a good guy to have in this locker room on this run. Also, Teddy Bridgewater has been getting some teams sniffing around, seeing if he wanted to come join their coaching staffs. Maybe this is a guy who could end up doing some coaching with the Lions, or this could help him move on to somewhere else in his career. I just think it's a really cool story.
That's what I thought it was when I first saw the headline, because I knew about the story about him winning the state title and everything, and then I saw that maybe he wanted to get back in the NFL, and I thought, to coach, he's done playing, he wants to coach in the NFL now. So when I saw the Lions brought him on, I'm like, oh, they're bringing him on as like a coaching consultant, but no, they're bringing him on. And really, it's, as you're saying, it's like the best of both worlds then, because you really are getting, a pseudo quarterback coach. You also have a backup quarterback. So, yeah, good for the locker room. There's no downside to something like that. Jared Goff's not going to be like, oh, gosh, is he going to come in here and take my job? No, Jared, you're the man. Like, there's no downside here.
And possibly, maybe the Lions, they don't want to really overexert Jared Goff right now in practice, or maybe there's a chance Jared Goff doesn't play week 18. And you put Hendon Hooker in there, you need some insurance as well. This is a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah, and Hooker, and he was a third-round pick. So
third round, okay.
And so this is his second year. Yeah, that'd be a good chance to get his feet wet. But then what if you do that, which is a smart move, but then he gets hurt? Boom, got Teddy Bridgewater right there. So really cool story.
Shaq Barrett, he signed on with the Miami Dolphins in the offseason, a 1-year, $7 million contract, but then he retired from the league in July. Well, he filed for reinstatement in November, wanting to come back. The Dolphins have waived him because they said it was just simply a numbers game. That's what Mike McDonald said. So if Shaq Barrett clears waivers, he will be able to sign with the team and be able to play for someone as long as he does that. Interesting. It was interesting when Shaq Barrett retired, wondered what was going on, and then 4 or 5 months later, hey, I want to come back to the league.
That's like an Aaron Rodgers retirement right there.
Brett Favre type deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pick a former Packers quarterback. It's still so funny to me that Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers. Where's he go? The Jets, just like Favre did. Is he going to go to the Vikings next? Probably not.
Yeah, maybe not now with what they've gotten from Sam Darnold. Of course, they drafted J.J. McCarthy. So Drew Rosenhaus is hoping that he will clear through waivers, become a free agent, and then play against this season. You have to wonder, though, what kind of shape he's in, because a team that would be picking him would probably be picking him up for hopefully a playoff run. Is he ready to just drop in and compete right now? I'm sure he has been staying in shape, but there's a difference between being in shape and being in football shape as well.
No doubt about it. And, but yeah, you'd have to think, because he did go through training camp and everything, right? So he's not too far removed from that and played in a few games. So, yeah, as long as he hasn't
he retired in July, so I'm guessing he didn't go through any of that.
Okay, I couldn't remember the timeline on that. So, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Has he been sitting on the couch eating potato chips, or has he been working out a lot? But you're right, even if he has been working out a lot, there's a difference between, football shape and just being in good shape.
We saw Michael Vick get hired last week by Norfolk State to be their next head coach. Deshaun Jackson looks like he's the next coach at Delaware State. Interesting that these schools are taking these former players and throwing them right into the head coaching role without any real coaching experience. Michael Vick didn't really have any coaching experience. Deshaun Jackson just retired after the 23 season, so he doesn't have a lot of coaching experience. I wonder if the success that Deion is having with Colorado and the NIL world and trying to find every advantage that you can to get players to come. Like, these players, they grew up watching Deshaun Jackson. They saw him. They liked his flashiness. Maybe it's going to cause some recruits to come that way. It's very interesting to see how this works with all these guys. We've seen quite a few HBCU places do this. Obviously, Norfolk State. Dion got his start there. Eddie George has been good at Tennessee State. I never thought of Deshaun Jackson as a head coaching type, but maybe this will work out.
Yeah, and this is the Dion effect, 100%. I mean, he really, started this this whole situation and did a good job at Jackson State. Obviously, he's proven his doubters wrong at Colorado. Nobody thought he'd go 9-3 this year. And he's on the doorstep of 10-2 and getting in the Big 12 championship game. So whatever you think of Dion, I mean, he went way over their expected win total this year. So we're absolutely seeing the Deion Sanders effect here.
Deshaun Jackson, it will be Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick both. Again, guys that had no coaching experience at all. It'd be interesting to see what they do with these places. If they have, I think Michael Vick probably has the cachet that maybe a Deion Sanders does to just get people to come because they want to be associated with the name.
And he's from that area. I mean, Virginia Beach.
20 minutes from his home,
exactly.
So he knows it.
Not that he's not a legend across the country to football fans, but he's a legend among legends there.
I'll be following these schools a little bit just to see how this all goes. College athletics. It seems like they sure have a major problem. We'll get into it and discuss next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Hey, it's Anthony. Not too many things you'll experience on a daily basis are worse than sore feet. I've been there, but I'm not going back there. I'm done with the over-the-counter insoles that shred on me or don't last or don't really do anything to actually realign and strengthen my feet. That's why I went to the Good Feet store. They make it personal. They asked me about my daily activities and the type of pain that brought me in, and they properly measured my feet and arch size. Once I was fitted, they placed my arch supports right into my own shoes so I could immediately feel the difference they make with every step. I started enjoying that comfort right away. I walked out wearing my new arch supports, and now I'm living and loving being on the go without pain. You've got to check out the Good Feet store. Bring in your favorite shoes. They'll personally fit you to ensure your comfort like they did for me. Try them. Take a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City. Or check them out at goodfeet.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. Hurry! It's our last chance to donate for 2024. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check the kickoff time first before showing up at the stadium.
What? The slot's full already?
Final score of today's game.
You said kickoff was at 3. It was last week.
That's not how it works, Bob. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility.
Huddle up, the food's done.
Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartimus. We had more bad Thursday night football last night as the Seahawks went to Chicago and beat the Bears by a score of 6-3. The crowd was filled with chants of sell the team as the Bears are now losers of 10 in a row following an inspiring 4-2 start. And on the Seattle end of things, the Seahawks are keeping their playoff hopes alive as they advance to 9-7. They are currently 8th in the NFC standings. They are a game and a half behind the Commanders in the wild card, but only half a game behind the Rams for the division, and those two teams will line up against each other in Week 18, so that could be an exciting finish in the NFC West. Jackets things, the Blue Jackets look to perform a little bit of home cooking as the Boston Bruins come to town tonight. Boston is currently third in the Atlantic, 7 p.m. puck drop, and we got it right here on The Fan. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30. And then tomorrow the Jackets will go to Boston. That game will be at 7, also on The Fan. Pre-game coverage also at 6:30. This update is brought to you by Valley Florida Columbus. The best Broncos sports selection is at the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
After putting up with Dom Barry for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Hour number 2 of the program, Bishop and Friends, is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss is Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Cole Bartimus in for the Bishop and Friends today on this Football Friday. And college athletics got some issues that they've got to get taken care of. I know that it's a Football Friday and this isn't football, but there was a surprise coaching resignation yesterday in the world of college basketball as Jim Larrañaga announced that he was going to be leaving the Miami basketball program. Larrañaga, a guy who's 75 years old, doesn't need to do this anymore. Has been doing it for a long time, been coaching college athletics for over 50 years. But he did have some interesting words to say yesterday at his press conference, the reasoning why he is going to step down.
I'm exhausted. I've tried every which way to keep this going. And I know I'm going to be asked a lot of questions, but I want to answer them before I'm even asked. What shocked me beyond belief was after we made it to the Final Four just 18 months ago, the very first time I met with the players, 8 of them decided they were going to put their name in the portal and leave. I said, don't you like it yet? No, I love it. I love Miami. It's great. But the opportunity to make money someplace else created a situation that you have to begin to ask yourself as a coach, what is this all about?
And I would imagine the current state of college athletics is especially hard for a guy who has coached in the college ranks his whole career, and someone that's as old as Coach Larrañaga, because recruiting and keeping on track of your roster management is a 365, 24/7 job now. And it's interesting. People are like, Bill Belichick, he's 73. Why does he want to go deal with this? Well, he's been a pro coach. He's kind of dealt with this his whole time. But we saw Tony Bennett, who's a younger man, step away from Virginia this year, saying that he felt like a square peg in a round hole and that he looked at himself and realized he was no longer the best coach to lead that program. And kudos to these guys for realizing that and not doing a disservice to these kids. We've seen multiple college baseball coaches this past year leave, citing the NIL. And we know that college baseball, unfortunately, look at a school like Ohio State and Justin Hare, who has come in. He realizes he's not going to get the resources that the football program or the basketball program is going to get, that he's going to have to go out and he's going to have to fundraise and he's going to have to work hard. And he's a guy that came from Campbell University where they had to do that anyway. So he might be the perfect guy for this job, an Ohio guy. Chip Kelly left a head coaching job at UCLA because he didn't want to deal with it. He could come to Ohio State, be the offensive coordinator, and he can just coach ball and work with the players. Dave, I had a high school coach tell me before a game, we were on the field before the game, tell me, I'm not sure I'm the man to be doing this job anymore, just because he was dealing with kids and uniform infractions because they wanted to do things they knew they couldn't do, and he has to get this kid to change what he did so he can play in a game, and he's more worried about where he's going to college than playing ball. And I don't think everything that we've done is bad, but we've got to get some rules and some guidelines in place with all of this, and we think they're coming, but right now it's really difficult to be a college football coach.
Yeah, and
or a college basketball coach, whatever.
And I am a firm believer Nick Saban would not have retired when he did if not for all of the massive changes that we've seen in a very short period of time in college football and college athletics in general. And yeah, when a guy like Larrañaga steps aside, it's a surprise, especially the timing. But then you realize, okay, 75 years old, okay, that's not shocking. But yeah, like when a guy like Bennett steps aside, I mean, then you're thinking, geez, I mean, this is a guy you thought would probably coach for another 20 years. And he's like, I can't do this. There's just too much non-basketball coaching stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that goes with the job that's not basketball coaching, whether it's, schmoozing with boosters or this or that. But like, it's just, they've put so much on the coaches' plates now. And I can hear people right now, well, they get, that's why some of them make like $10 million a year, like Ryan Day. I get that. But then at some point, though, you're going to have enough money to have generational wealth where you can even pass it down to your kids, where you don't never need to work anymore. Why are you going to keep doing it? So I don't know, man. You better love what you're doing because they put so much on the coaches. And look at Ohio State football right now. They're managing this very well. They're navigating a crazy route right now because they're preparing for the playoffs while they're having to manage the transfer portal, both keep their players around that they want. They know they're going to lose some guys, but keep the guys that they want mostly, and then go get guys, which they're doing. And they're doing a great job of it. And you and I were talking yesterday. This would be akin to, let's say, the NFL season, the regular season ends. Certain guys that are pending free agents start, on the teams that have been eliminated, start signing with teams that are currently in the NFL playoffs. So if you're, the Kansas City Chiefs, it's January, you're going through the playoffs, and you're also signing free agents for your 2025 season. That's what we're seeing in college football right now. That's how crazy this is with the NIL, with everything that these coaches are dealing with, the tripling the size of the playoff. So yeah, man, I'm not surprised when I see these coaches stepping away, especially when they've earned so much money. And if a guy's in his 70s, man, just enjoy your retirement if you're not having fun. Now, hopefully if you're 75, that means you've got like 25 years left. You might not, right? The math might not. The odds are probably not in your favor. If you're not having fun, if you're having fun, keep doing it. If you're not having fun, man, retire, enjoy your golden years.
We talked about Chip Kelly here at Ohio State. We've seen it. You mentioned Ryan Day, and I've been as critical of Ryan Day as just about anyone, I believe. But
can confirm
I think you can tell that not only with the losing to Michigan and the fan backlash from that, but everything they have to deal with to keep a roster, to keep kids around, to hit the portal. Like right now, he's trying to beat the number one team in the country. He's trying to worry about beating the number one team in the country, a rematch with Oregon, and he's also having to worry about recruiting transfers to coming in. And you're right, he's very well compensated, but I think you can tell all of this has taken a toll on Ryan Day, the backlash and just the constant roster management work. And at Ohio State, it's 10 times, it's magnified compared to everywhere else.
And we don't have to imagine that it's taken its toll on him. He's said it. I still can't believe, and it just shows you the gravity of it. For him to compare, not that it was worse than what happened to his dad. In fact, he said the worst thing that's ever happened to him is his dad taking his own life when Ryan was a young boy. But he said other than that, this is the worst thing that's happened to him was losing to Michigan. At that time, that was, quote unquote, only 3 times in a row. When you equate like your father's suicide with losing a football game, how much pressure's on you. And he wasn't talking specifically about like NIL and stuff like that. He was talking specifically about losing to their rivals 3 straight times. But that just shows you how much pressure he's under. Again, though, he's making $10 million a year. He signed up for it. He loves coaching. But that's the thing. You might love coaching, but you hate all the other stuff that goes along with it. Now, he's done a good job of embracing all of that. Do I think Ryan Day's a big fan of NIL? Probably not, but he's done a great job of embracing it. And he's even talking about stuff like that. You either have to either embrace it or get left behind, kind of. I'm paraphrasing. And Dabo's a good example of this. Even though Clemson now maybe is starting to change their strategy,
he's been
even
forced to.
They snuck in the playoffs this year, one and done. Yeah, for him to be like, oh no, we're just going to ignore the transfer portal. How is that working out for you, man? You've got to either get out or you've got to embrace these changes, whether you like them or not. And
listen, you talked about Saban. Saban seems really happy on the set of College Game Day right now. We talked about, even though it wasn't as much when he was here, Urban Meyer, he seems really happy on the set of Big Noon right now. And then you think about Ohio State. They kind of got forced, kind of like Clemson. They've gotten forced to get into this party. And I think of Gene Smith. And I think it was hard for Gene Smith to transition into this. And he's gone now, and Ohio State has brought in Ross Bjork, and he has seemed to embrace it all. But it is very difficult. It's ever-changing, and they've got to get some kind of rules in place to make this, at least have some standards, because it's the Wild West right now.
Yeah, they've got to find some guidelines. And I know everybody's afraid of getting sued, so they're just, some of these guidelines are not happening. But I maintain that, when a lot of powerful people want the same thing, roughly, usually that thing happens. And almost all of the power brokers in college football want some type of guardrails. Now, what do those guardrails entail? I don't know, but I think in the next few years, we're going to see more guardrails with this.
Yeah, it's coming. Instead of being proactive, though, it's all reactive, so it's coming from behind, and that's why we have the mess that we have right now. Ohio State and Oregon, Wednesday night, Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, the rematch we've all wanted. Where does Ohio State have some advantages in this game that we think? We'll tell you next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
We're back on the Nada Yada Island Confessions Show. Benny is about to tell us how he found two loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to Metro, I found iPhone 12 and Apple Watch SE.
At Metro, get the perfect match of both iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. You heard that right. Both for just $99.99. Holidays with Nada Yada Yada. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number and ID, sign up for Metro Flex Plus, and add a watch line. Not available if you're with T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days. Limit 2 per account.
The nightmare of the cleared drain. Those drain clearing specials from the other guys seem like a great deal until you realize the only thing really going down your drain is your money. At the Waterworks, we mean clean. Our service doesn't just clear your drains, it cleans them too. It's done right the first time, so that nightmare of a drain becomes a dream come true. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call 614-232-2222 to get started.
Make your New Year's Eve celebration and football watch party a good deal better with Meijer. Fresh guac is always a hit. Mix up a batch with extra large fresh avocados. Now buy one, get one free. And Meijer tortilla chips are a perfect match. Assorted Meijer chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. And Coca-Cola and Pepsi 12 packs are buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. Bring more good to your holiday celebrations at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app for details.
Hey, Jackets fans, we know what's on your holiday wish list. Ask your Secret Santa for a Blue Jackets holiday gift pack. You'll score 2 tickets plus a Blue Jackets helmet shirt, all for just $99. Learn more at bluejackets.com/holiday.
Does your vehicle need maintenance, but you don't have time? Krieger Ford's got you covered. Enjoy our convenient pickup and delivery service, or we come to you with our mobile service van. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today, only at KriegerFord.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with 0 experience at mycomputercareer.edu. Not available in Washington State.
If you need a new furnace, don't settle for a quote north of $7,000. Call your local Sears Heating and Cooling team instead, because those prices are unnecessary. At Sears, we're not plumbers or electricians. We are your Central Ohio heating experts. We keep our overhead low and pass those savings on to you. Save thousands and enjoy a 10-year parts and labor warranty, all without sacrificing service or quality. So get a quote from Sears Heating and Cooling and understand why we are proudly celebrating 75 years as your partner in comfort. SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Have you ever told a friend?
Oh, I'm fine.
When you really felt?
Just so overwhelmed.
Or sent a text?
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
When you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
A few showers developing later this afternoon, warm with temperatures in the low 50s. Overnight temperatures staying steady, a few showers, mostly cloudy and warm and breezy on Saturday, low 60s for highs. And then on Sunday, morning showers, still warm with highs near 60. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination. Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
Well, no Uncle Bo today. No Reeser either. So you're stuck with Baker, Biddle, and Bartimus. This is like Biggio, Bagwell, and Berkman back in the day.
We're going
for
Killer
the Houston
Bees.
Astros, the Killer Bees. I like it. I'll take it.
Bell, Brown.
There you go.
Okay.
Never won a Super Bowl.
Ooh, that is true.
I mean, Le'Veon, the local young man from Groveport.
Yeah, for sure.
The football stadium there is named Le'Veon Bell Field.
He donated a lot of money to upgrade those facilities for Groveport. Very nice over there.
Good for the Cruisers.
By the way, speaking of the Steelers and disappointing the playoffs, I heard this. I have not verified this. I'm pretty sure if the Steelers are a one and done in the playoffs this year, Mike Tomlin will have 3 playoff victories in 14 years.
But he has a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I saw a list.
That's crazy. So does that count the Super Bowl itself?
The Super Bowl was 2008. So that's 16 years ago.
Oh, I got you. Sorry.
I saw a list
I thought you meant it like his entire career.
All of the pro franchises that have won a playoff game since the Steelers, and I was stunned.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, once the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Browns start to make their way into that list, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, the Browns are on that list.
I know.
Because they beat them.
Yeah.
So.
First play of the game, Marquise Pouncey snaps it over Ben Roethlisberger's head.
And it was all downhill.
And it's 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that was not a good night for you.
No.
It was not a good night for you at all.
That was insane. Watching that as a Bengals fan, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, that.
And
normally it would be that.
Stefanski wasn't even there. Remember, he was at home because of the COVID.
Normally that would be the Steelers doing that to the Browns. I was like, this is yeah, you know it's 2020 when something like this is happening. I think it was going through my mind. And you know, the Browns finally have a quarterback that wins a playoff game for them. They're like, let's get him out of here. Let's trade the world for Deshaun Watson and give him a ridiculous contract.
And speaking of the Bengals, 2 of Mike Tomlin's 3 victories in the playoffs in the past 14 years are against A.J. McCarron and Matt Moore.
Jeez. Wow. And that A.J. McCarron game, the Bengals
should have won.
Should have won. Jeez. Well, good thing he's got that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
Not that he'd be fired, probably, because he never has a losing season. We were talking about it all offseason during On the Money.
It's the best bet every year, the Steelers over.
We were like, we could not believe the Steelers over-under was, what was it, 8.5? Yeah,
it was
we were saying
7.5, and then towards the season, it went up to 8.
They would have had to have, if you took the over, they would have had to have a losing record for you to lose the bet. It's like, yeah, I'm taking the over. Like
Tomlin's never done that.
No, he's never had a losing season. Okay,
never
great.
A losing record.
We got Marvin Lewis with a beard.
Oh man, that's harsh.
I tell you what,
that is harsh.
He does look cool over there on the side. When they show Tomlin over there with those sunglasses on, he looks cool. I know if you're a Steeler fan, you're like, that's great that he looks cool. How about win some playoff games?
It's the easiest ever. Who would play this coach in a movie too? Omar Epps, hands down.
Yeah.
No,
definitely.
No doubt about it.
Definitely.
So Ohio State taking on Oregon. Bids, I still remember yesterday before the show waking up and thinking, man, we're less than a week away. And I'm getting really excited for this game. And I started thinking about where Ohio State can win this game because we know it was so close last time. And I was thinking about where does Ohio State have an advantage in this game? Where does Oregon have an advantage in this game? And we'll get into the Oregon side of things later on. And this is actually hard for me because I think these are the two most talented rosters in the country in college football. Now, does that mean they're the two best teams? I don't know if that means they're the two best teams, but this sure feels like to me the national championship game, even though it's not the national championship game. And neither of these teams may go on to win the national championship, whoever wins it, because the road is tough. But I certainly think these are the two most talented teams in the country. And I'm trying to think where Ohio State has advantages on the field. And I think the first spot, to me, where Ohio State has an advantage in this game is on the perimeter offensively. Both of these teams have very talented wide receivers. Both of these teams have talented defensive backs. But I don't think there's DBs in the country that can cover Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, and Carnell Tate. So I think Ohio State on the edges perimeterly on the offensive side of the ball, I think that's a huge advantage for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, definitely. And, Oregon's secondary certainly is not bad, but, if Ohio State – they do what they did against Tennessee in just, we're going to keep attacking. I don't see this Oregon secondary keeping up with Ohio State. And even last time Ohio State did score 31 points. And I firmly believe, Ryan, if they score 31 points this time, they're going to win the game. Because another advantage I think Ohio State has is just Ohio State's defense overall. And people are, well, look what happened the first game. Look what happened since then. Well, what did Ohio State do after the Oregon game? They re-engineered their defense. And to me, that means now Jim Knowles has complete control over what he wants to do. And we've seen that. And Ryan brought this up on the show yesterday. So a really cool stat that illuminates just how great this Ohio State defense has been since the Oregon game. 7 games since then, 0 passing touchdowns for Ohio State's opponents. Ohio State has not allowed a passing touchdown since the Oregon game. Oregon had 2. Dylan Gabriel had 2 in that game. Previous to that, they gave up 2. They've given up 4 all year, Ohio State's defense. They're the number one, even with the Oregon game factored in, they're the number one total defense, number one scoring defense in the country, and they're peaking at the right time. So I think Ohio State's defense, particularly their passing defense and how much they've improved and getting after the quarterback. Because, Ryan, those were the 2 biggest things, when Ohio State's defense was on the field. Lack of pressure on Dylan Gabriel and too many big plays. Okay? If they can make Gabriel uncomfortable and limit the big plays, I think it's going to be a really good afternoon/evening in Pasadena for the Buckeyes.
Here's another place I think Ohio State has an advantage, and I hope it's an advantage in this game. Second half adjustments. Outside of the Michigan game, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Ohio State has dominated third quarters. They've only allowed 1 touchdown in the third quarter all year, and the points are minuscule. Even in the Michigan game where Ohio State didn't make a lot of adjustments, it seemed like, most of that was on the offensive side of the ball. Michigan didn't score in the third period or the third quarter of that game. So I think Ohio State and this coaching staff, and again, I've been as critical of them as anyone, I think they have done a good job at making halftime adjustments.
Yeah, and it's I hate that we have to be, except for the time that they didn't, which was the worst offensive game plan I've ever seen, and then what made it worse was no adjustments against Michigan. But listen, I won't say it'll be a blip on the radar if they win the national championship, that Michigan game, but we'll look at it definitely as a fluke, and 100 times out of 100, give me the loss to Michigan if it means winning a national championship. But they got to get there, and yeah, I'm with you on this. This does feel like the two best teams. You're not guaranteed to win the national championship, obviously, if you win this game, but it does feel like this is kind of the national championship game. If Texas advances, playing Texas at the Cotton Bowl won't be easy, basically in Texas's backyard. And if you get to the championship game, playing whoever you're going to play, not going to be easy. But, yeah, it just feels like if Ohio State gets past this game, I mean, they will be the betting favorite. And they are favored in this game by 2.5, almost a pick 'em. But I like the revenge factor here. I like the fact that now it's Ohio State that, lost that close game. And Ohio State knows, Ryan, man, we went to their place, raucous environment at night, and really should have won that game and only lost by 1 point. So Ohio State doesn't have to wonder or think they can play with Oregon. They know they can. They know they can beat them. And now you get them at a neutral field. Now, I do think there's going to be more Oregon fans than Ohio State fans there, but I don't think it's going to be a vast, discrepancy. So, yeah, man, I can't believe it's 5 days away. It's creeping up on us.
Here's another thing where I think Ohio State has an advantage, and this is a think because I don't know if we're going to see it. But if we see the innovative offense that Chip Kelly is known for and used to, we see the offense that he called last week against Tennessee, I think Ohio State will have an advantage there because when you use that kind of offense and get all of your playmakers involved and you do different schemes in the running game where you get guys outside of the tackle box and get Travion Henderson in space. You use the screen game and all of that things. You use the jet sweeps with the wide receivers and that kind of stuff. I think when you use the whole offensive playbook, I think Ohio State will have an advantage.
And they did a great job against Tennessee with that, with the misdirection. They've had elements of that throughout the season, but they really leaned in heavily on that. And Tennessee had no answer for it. There was a lot of eye candy Ohio State was showing, that it looked like we're going to do this and we do that, And again, just a lot of great misdirection plays, counters, misdirection throws, throwbacks, things like that. And just kept Tennessee on their heels all night. Now, this is a really good Oregon defense. And Dan Lanning's a heck of a good coach, as we know from the first matchup. He even, finds a loop. If they're changing rules because of something that you found, that's just good coaching. You're not cheating. A lot of people are like, "Oh, he's a cheater." It's like he's not cheating.
You're just using the system.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's
right.
That's like the exact reason that phrase exists. So, man, I think we're in for a good one. But I'm picking Ohio State in a close game, something like 28-24 Buckeyes or something around there. 28-24 Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes are going to get it done.
Oregon, I do believe they have some pretty big advantages on the field Wednesday night, too. We'll get into that in about 45 minutes. We have a lot of bowl games the next 2 days, starting at noon today. Dave and I, we will try to know the scores in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
Hollywood Lights. Bring in 2025 in a big way at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Don't miss our New Year, New Wheels giveaway. Drive off in a 2024 Jeep Gladiator or take home $30,000 cash. Earn entries playing your favorite slot and table games all month long. The fun doesn't stop there. Catch live entertainment, hit the dance floor, indulge in fine dining, and count down to a balloon drop at midnight. Must be 21. Family problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
1-877 Cars for Kids. It's our last chance to donate for 2024. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Anthony. Not too many things you'll experience on a daily basis are worse than sore feet. I've been there, but I'm not going back there. I'm done with the over-the-counter insoles that shred on me or don't last or don't really do anything to actually realign and strengthen my feet. That's why I went to the Good Feet store. They make it personal. They asked me about my daily activities and the type of pain that brought me in, and they properly measured my feet and arch size. Once I was fitted, they placed my arch supports right into my own shoes so I could immediately feel the difference they make with every step. I started enjoying that comfort right away. I walked out wearing my new arch supports, and now I'm living and loving being on the go without pain. You've got to check out the Good Feet store. Bring in your favorite shoes. They'll personally fit you to ensure your comfort like they did for me. Try them. Take a free test walk today. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA. They're on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City. Or check them out at goodfeet.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Rest in peace, Mike Leach. One of the best.
There's so many of them, too. Fat Little Girlfriends is one of my favorite. Fat Little Girlfriends is one of the best.
Such a innovative offensive play caller as well. We got a lot of bowl games, and they get underway in just about 90 minutes from now. Bids, it's time that we try to know the scores.
It's time for Know the Scores on Bishop and Friends.
Oh, I love that music.
It is great music.
I don't know if the games will match that energy, but we'll try our best. How about we start with the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. I'm very fond of Fort Worth, so that's pretty cool. We got Oklahoma -3 against the Naval Academy.
So this one gets underway at noon today. Oklahoma somehow surprised Alabama, knocked them off and knocked them out of the college football playoff. But there's no way I can go against Navy and Hilliard's own Blake Horvath in this one. I think Navy in that triple option offense gets it done. Give me Navy 27-21.
Got a Hilliard quarterback, and it's the Armed Forces Bowl. You can't pick against Navy. I'm going to pick against Navy. I just think Oklahoma is probably going to cover. I'll be rooting for Navy. I hope I'm wrong, but give me Oklahoma to cover the 3.
Hopefully Syracuse wins this one so their coach can take a shower. Syracuse and Washington State, in the DirecTV Holiday Bowl from San Diego at 8 p.m. Syracuse -17.
When I first saw this, I was like, what is that? And then I remember like Washington State has like everybody sitting out this game. Is that right? Their quarterback's already transferred?
Yeah.
Something like that. Kyle McCord's last collegiate game. Too many points. Give me Washington State +17.
You got to pick a score.
Kyle McCord, 4,326 passing yards this year, led the NCAA. Listen, I have no ill will towards Kyle McCord, and I don't think anyone around here does. He couldn't quite get it done here, and Ohio State didn't think that he would, so he went on to Syracuse, and he had a great year this year for them. And even though they were crazy and let him throw the ball like 60 times a game.
A good year. His quarterback rating, he played in a weak conference. A mediocre Pitt team picked him off 5 times. Let's simmer down. They didn't play anybody good.
I mean, it's not bad, though. It really isn't. It was a pretty good year. Listen, Kyle McCord was always a good college quarterback. That's all he was, unfortunately. The ceiling was what it was with him. You mentioned Washington State. 17's a lot, but Washington State has lost a lot of people. I got Syracuse 42-17.
All right, 10:30 tonight, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. I'll let you guess where that bowl is taking place. USC and Texas A&M -4.
I just have no faith in USC in what they're doing out there with Lincoln Riley. They've had some people leave as well, some quarterback turnover. Obviously, Miller Moss got benched, and he is gone. I'm guessing this one is a shootout tonight. I'm going to go Texas A&M 45, USC 38.
I'll go a little lower. I also have A&M covering. Give me A&M 34, USC 28.
Just to keep everybody up to speed, Miller Moss will be playing for Louisville next season.
Louisville. From Louisville.
Tomorrow, 11 a.m., bright and early, UConn and UNC going at it. This would be a hell of a basketball game. I don't know what it's going to look like in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl from Fenway Park, but North Carolina will be 2.5-point favorites.
I definitely think of wasabi when I think of New England. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Give me Carolina over UConn. I'm going to take Carolina. Give it to me about 31-21.
I was kind of thinking along the same lines there, and Cole, you're right. This is a heck of a basketball matchup. I wish they'd throw the hardwood down there and play
Jacob
an outdoor.
Reimer heard UConn and North Carolina just crashed his car.
He's all in.
It's a football school now. They got Belichick there. What are you talking about?
Luckily, I know Jacob Reimer's working from home till 2, and then he's coming in here today, so I don't think he crashed his car.
Gotcha.
But he's very excited with UNC. I'm going to go UNC 28, UConn 17.
How about Boston College in Nebraska at noon tomorrow? Nebraska is going to be -4 in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripes Bowl from Yankee Stadium. We got a lot of football games at baseball stadiums. I think we had one last night, Kansas State and Rutgers in Arizona.
I can't believe that we've got a football game in Yankee Stadium and Fenway Park. Not only on the same day, but they're going on at pretty much the same time. They start an hour apart
that
here.
Is cool.
Boston College has just been a mess this year with their quarterback turnover and whatnot. I think I've got to think that Matt Rule is going to figure out how to win this game and how to cover. Give me Nebraska 31, Boston College 23.
I'm going to go with an upset here. Give me Boston College 24, Nebraska 17.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here you go. The Pop-Tart Bowl from Orlando, 3:30 tomorrow. Number 18, Iowa State against number 13, Miami. Miami's -3.5, and I am like 99% sure Cam Ward is playing.
I like Miami to cover this. So give me, and I think it's going to be high scoring there at the Citrus Bowl. Yeah, give me Miami 38, Iowa State 24.
So this is our first matchup of 2 ranked teams here in the bowls that we've picked here for Know the Scores. I kind of tend to think this is going to be a decently high-scoring game as well. Cam Ward, if he's in there, I got to think that Miami's going to be pulling it off, but the hook keeps Iowa State in this one. Miami 38, Iowa State 35.
A rare conference game in a bowl game. Number 17, BYU. Number 23, Colorado. Colorado's -4 in the Valero Alamo Bowl from San Antonio. And Shador and Travis Hunter are insured.
I love the over here, first of all, because I think Deion's going to go out of his way in his son's last game to throw the ball a lot. And that could mean there's some interceptions, but there's going to be a lot of scoring in this game. And I do think Colorado's going to score more than BYU. Give me Colorado 45, BYU 38.
So they are in the same conference, which is weird, but they did not match up this year at all. I can't believe that Shador and Travis are playing in this game. Good for them, though. I love that they are, and I feel gross saying that because I haven't loved anything about Colorado. -4 in a close matchup. Man, that's tough to lay those points. I can't believe I'm doing it, but I think I'm going to do it. Colorado, 34. BYU, 27.
Louisiana Tech and number 22, Army. Army's going to be -16.5 in the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl from Shreveport.
It's like a home game for Louisiana Tech here in this one.
That's not fair.
That's too many points, man.
Army's been pretty good, but that's a lot of points for an Army team that, I mean, they score, but still 16.5 is a lot. Army gets the win. We're not going against Army, that's for sure. I think it's Army 31, Louisiana Tech 21.
I'll go Army 24, Louisiana Tech 20. So we both have Army winning, but Louisiana Tech covering 16.5. Man, Louisiana Tech must be depleted. Army's really good. I was surprised Navy, with our local product at quarterback, I was surprised Navy beat Army this year. And it wasn't particularly close, was it?
The Navy had a really good game.
Yeah.
It got a little closer towards the end, but Navy really put it to our Army in that one. The highest scoring game between those two, I believe it was ever. It had been a long time, but it had been a long time since the combined over-under went over 40 in that game.
It was cool seeing like the combined win totals for Army Navy coming into that game.
They both had really good.
Yeah, I mean,
at one time, both of them undefeated this year, ranked.
Right. Because I mean, it's cool when they go enter that game like 4-7 each, or whatever it might be, you know, or one team's like 1-10 or something. It's always cool for them to be like, ranked at one point and undefeated this season. And, you know, each team, I believe, had double-digit wins entering the game. Very cool.
Bids, I know you'll be keeping track of this, seeing who won this, because, you know, it's always a competition between us two. You're winning on the touchdowns, and I know you've got the NFL games from yesterday written down, and we'll see who gets a little know the scores this week. Cole, he's going to still be the star of the show coming up next. It's Thing or Not a Thing. Bishop and Friends, 97.1 The Fan.
Struggling with high cloud hosting costs and endless management headaches with your Microsoft Azure or AWS environment? Contact AmericanEagle.com for an assessment and see how they can save you time and money.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on The Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
This is a Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Getting Quez Glover back, especially in the backcourt, that has to be a big plus, especially for a guy, Jake, that's played so much basketball.
Yeah, his experience is really valuable for us. And listen, he's been a scorer at every stop of his college career. And then I think when you take into consideration too his ability to pressure the ball, had a couple disruptive defensive plays for us. We're really excited to have him back, and he should be really impactful for us moving forward.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
I have to also ask you about the way Evan Mahaffey has played and his decisions as far as going to scoring opportunities. His field goal percentage certainly shows the decisions have paid off.
Yeah, he's a guy that I've had to challenge to be even more aggressive at times, because he isn't an efficient player. He picks his spots well. He's, I think he can play make at times too and create for others. But when he gets the ball in the paint, and good things have happened for us, whether it's him scoring or him creating for someone else. So he's got to continue to be aggressive for us, and really happy with his growth this year.
There's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Make the most of your holidays with the Kroger app. You can enjoy over $600 in digital coupons every week. Get access to low prices and earn fuel points to save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. The Kroger app makes it easy to save this holiday season. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 2-liter bottles of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties are just $1.49 each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
We're back on the Nada Yada Island Confessions Show. Benny is about to tell us how he found two loves. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks to Metro, I found iPhone 12 and Apple Watch SE.
At Metro, get the perfect match of both iPhone 12 with 5G and Apple Watch SE for only $99.99. You heard that right. Both for just $99.99. Holidays with Nada Yada Yada. Only at Metro by T-Mobile.
Bring your number and ID, sign up for Metro Flex Plus, and add a watch line. Not available if you're with T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days. Limit 2 per account.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
It's from the Department of Corrections. I got my mics mixed up in that quote there, by the way. That was Mike Brown that had the pie analogy, not Mike Leach. I still miss Mike Leach, though. He's one of the best. But that was Mike Brown talking about the Joe Burrow and all the pieces of the pie there. And
when I used to produce I was the host and producer of our old, we called it Front Row Radio because we didn't know. We just called it Internet Radio because podcasts weren't a thing yet. So back in the day, we had this Front Row Radio thing for Bucknuts, and I would produce. It'd be an hour-long show. And between segments, I would always play a funny clip or a quick musical clip. But the funny clips were dominated by Mike Leach clips and Mike Tyson clips. Just absolutely dominated. I mean, as I said, pull up the fat little girlfriends rant from Mike Leach. That's my favorite. And there's like 20 that are great. But the fat little girlfriends takes the cake. No pun intended.
Mike Leach, one of the best, but I got to give credit where credit. It was Mike Brown in that sounder there. Time for a little thing or not a thing.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Cole, what do we got today?
We got a bevy of topics from different sports. So let's go to college football from last night. A Group of 5 program has taken down a Power 4 program in the bowl season. Actually, multiple of them have. And it's a little bit local here, too. It's pretty cool. Jason Candle's Toledo Rockets beat Pat Narduzzi's Pitt Panthers 48-46 in 6 overtimes in the, can you guess which bowl game it was?
I cannot. I was even watching some of it here.
Cure? Is it the Cure? Can't remember.
I think it's like the Game Above Sport Bowl or something like that. Yeah, whatever that is. Who cares? Just for context, Pitt's starting quarterback Eli Holstein was not available due to injury, and the number 2 quarterback Nate Yarnell is not with the team as he will be playing for Texas State next season. He is transferred. So Pitt started the game with their number 3 quarterback David Lynch, ended the game with number 4 quarterback Julian Duggar. And it's actually kind of funny. I've seen multiple Pitt fans on the internet actually call for Pat Narduzzi to be fired for this game because of his incompetent decision-making. So Toledo kicked the field goal to begin the first overtime. So then Pitt gets the ball back, down 3. They get stuffed on 3rd and goal on the 1-yard line. And instead of trying to go for it again on 4th and 1, they kick a field goal to push it to a second overtime. And I told you there have been multiple Group of 5 victories over Power 4 teams. So we have Memphis beat West Virginia. West Virginia is kind of terrible. UNLV beat Cal. Cal is terrible. For what it's worth, the Power 4 has their fig leaf, which is Florida smashing Tulane. Toledo's bowl victory, thing or not a thing?
I don't think this is a thing in the grand scheme of things. It was an entertaining thing, I will say that. Say what you want about should they have gone for the win or whatnot. Toledo was up in this game at one point 20-12, I think late in the third quarter, and Pitt came back and took the lead, and then Toledo came back. It was very entertaining, but not a thing. You mentioned Pitt. Starting quarterback out, backup out. This is just kind of what we're dealing with, transfer portals and opt-outs and all of that thing, which is one of the things that's making it so hard for these college coaches is just players leaving and dealing with roster management while they still have games going on. I think it's funny that they're calling for Pat Narduzzi's head because I don't know what Pitt's ceiling as a football program is anymore. I feel like Pat Narduzzi's right there. He stayed right at their ceiling the whole time. So it was an entertaining thing, but in the grand scheme of things, not a thing.
It's a thing in my book because, you start off 7-0 and you lose your last 6 games. I mean, that's bad business. And you have to go for it there. Okay, I wonder if you forgot the rules because college overtime rules are terrible. Because, you'd get second overtime, but then starting the third overtime, you have to go for it from the 3. It's a 2-point conversion from the 3-yard line every time. So if you have the ball at the 1 on 4th and goal, you have to go for it there if you're Pitt. But I don't think he should be fired.
All right, thing or not a thing on this one. This one's coming to us from the NBA. So I had made mention, I think it was yesterday or Tuesday, I don't even know. But I made mention that Jimmy Butler had requested a trade out of Miami and how frustrating it is for NBA fans where that league, you sign a contract and the second you get frustrated, you just leverage your way out. Well, actually, Pat Riley of the Miami Heat, I believe he is the president of basketball operations. He's at least the general manager. I forget specifically what his title is. But they released a public statement saying this. We usually don't comment on rumors, but all this speculation has become a distraction to the team, and it is not fair to the players and coaches. Therefore, we will make it clear we are not trading Jimmy Butler. So a league that has seen stars like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, James Harden, just off the top of my head, in terms of stars who have requested trades. And in fact, you may recall Damian Lillard, I think he said that he would hold out unless he was specifically traded to the Miami Heat. So you want to talk about leveraging your power there. The Heat are taking a stance and saying, no, it does not benefit us to trade our best player. Thing or not a thing?
I think it's a thing because, they have such a culture that everybody just reveres, and rightfully so. And Jimmy Butler was such a good get for them. And for this to go sour, if in fact it's going sour, is interesting. And I don't put a lot of validity in Pat Riley shooting it down because what's he going to say? Yeah, we all hate each other and he requested a trade. So I tend to think there's something to this. There's a lot of smoke here. Seems like that relationship, which seemed like a perfect relationship, gritty Pat Riley, gritty Jimmy Butler, seemed like a marriage made in heaven. But, seems like it's gone south now. So it's a thing.
The whole situation might be a thing, but Pat Riley's denial that they're going to trade him is not a thing, like you said, because we've seen this before. We've seen coaches get the vote of confidence or quarterbacks get the vote of confidence or we're keeping this guy, we're doing that. And then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? That person ends up gone. So I don't think Pat Riley saying it's not going to happen is a thing. This whole situation might be a thing, and it could be a thing that as good of an organization as Miami has been, it could be a thing that's detrimental to them and their team where they might have to get rid of him because it's going to be something that destroys them from the inside. But this denial of it is definitely not a thing.
Do you want to hear what Knoxville radio sounded like after the Ohio State game?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. So this is coming to us from WNML down in Knoxville. This is the Eric Ainge Show. Eric Ainge, by the way, played at Tennessee. He was like a 3.5-year starter as a quarterback in the mid-2000s. So former player, but He definitely went after this Tennessee team and really questioned their mental toughness, which was really interesting to hear.
We're very good. We're at the top echelon of college football. We've had a 10-3 year and an 11-2 year under Josh Heupel in his first 4 years. There's something that will keep this program from ever being more than that if it doesn't get addressed. Tennessee suffered on Saturday what we have suffered a lot, which is we're on the road and they hit us and we fail to meet the challenge and come back. The players look shook. You can wake up early for morning runs and you can work out hard in the weight room and you can do it. Yeah, everybody does that. Okay, I'll give you the other side of this. Ohio State has had a better football team than Michigan 3 of the last 4 years.
Yes.
They have lost all 4 games.
Yes, they have.
Why? Because it's in their head. They're unsure. They're not confident. They don't play their best ball. And so they've lost 4 games in a row. It is a loaded roster. They have nothing but NFL talent on that team all over the place. Yet they've lost to Michigan 4 years in a row. When we go on the road at this point in time, our guys do not play like they do when they're at home. When we go on the road, if at first a game or breaks go against you, we not only let up, we look like we give up.
Whoo! It's very interesting. It almost sounds like Ohio State fans here and some of the things that have happened, with Ryan Day. And he mentions the Michigan games the last 4 years and whatnot. It's very interesting. It's nice to see, to me, I love to see the passion there. And you can tell those guys care about the program and the fans. Some of the fans are probably all in on that. They probably think they should have came into the horseshoe and won. They were very confident coming in, and then that it didn't play out that way. I don't know if it's an in-the-head thing with Tennessee, though, and I can't say that I've followed Tennessee football super closely before getting into that game, really, and this season some, but I think they were just outmatched. I think Ohio State was a more talented team when Tennessee is healthy. And Tennessee was not healthy. Dylan Sampson, their best player, hardly played. They had a lot of attrition at the wide receiver spot. So maybe they could have come in here and given Ohio State a little better game, but Ohio State was just dominant that night to me because Ohio State was clearly the better roster.
I do give Tennessee pundits credit. I haven't heard a lot of, it was just a great night for Ohio State. Maybe they got kind of lucky. I've heard a lot of stuff like Tennessee got outclassed. This is from Tennessee people, like we just heard from Eric Ainge. They're being realistic about it, is my point. So I give them credit. They're not like acting like it was some fluke, because Ohio State just bludgeoned them. It'd be ridiculous to act like it was some fluke.
And we had a caller on the Money last Sunday who said, the Ohio State, that was as good of a performance he had seen, as good of a team as he had seen. And he said he was rooting for Ohio State the rest of the way because they just flat out dominated Tennessee.
A Tennessee fan on his way home.
Yeah, on his way home. So, I just think that roster-wise, especially with what Tennessee brought to the table that night, Ohio State was just that much better. The Columbus Blue Jackets, they have a back-to-back. Starts tonight at home at Nationwide against the Boston Bruins. We'll do a little Shelly time coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on The Fan.
If your idea of the perfect radio show is all Buckeyes all the time, then it's your lucky day, Slappy, the Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at buyersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
The Columbus Gun Show at the Ohio Expo Center this weekend. Everything you need for the shooting sports and self-defense. Saturday 9 to 5, Sunday 9 to 4. Coupon and more info at cegunshows.com.
Did you know a dog license is one of the best ways to protect your pup if you should get separated? Ohio law requires all dogs to have a current license. Protect your pal by registering for your 2025 dog license today. Visit doglicense.franklincountyohio.gov for more details. Brought to you by Franklin County Auditor Michael Stinziano.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartimus. We had more bad Thursday night football last night as the Seahawks went to Chicago and beat the Bears by a score of 6-3. The crowd was filled with chants of sell the team as the Bears are now losers of 10 in a row following an inspiring 4-2 start. On the Seattle end of things, the Seahawks are keeping their playoff hopes alive as they advance to 9-7. They are currently 8th in the NFC standings, and they are a game and a half behind the Commanders in the wild card, but only half a game behind the Rams for the division, and those two teams are going to line up against each other in Week 18, so that could be an exciting finish in the NFC West. Local things tonight, the Blue Jackets look to perform a little bit of home cooking as the Boston Bruins come to town. Boston is currently 3rd in the Atlantic. 7 p.m. puck drop, and we got it right here on the Fan. Pregame coverage starts at 6:30. The Blue Jackets and Bruins also go tomorrow at 7, and pregame coverage will also start tomorrow at 6:30. This update is brought to you by Valley Ford of Columbus, your F-150 headquarters and the official dealership of Carnell Tate.
It's Friday, and there's football. I shall call it Football Friday.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for all things football. The Fan. The gloves. It's Shelly time.
Yeah, it's a Football Friday, but it's also a Jackets Friday. The Jackets taking on the Boston Bruins tonight over at Nationwide Arena. 7 o'clock puck drop. Then the Jackets head right to Boston for a little back-to-back as they take on the Bruins tomorrow. Joined now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline by our friend Jody Shelly for a little Shelly time. Jody, we'll get into the game with Boston here coming up and other things with the Blue Jackets. But first of all, I got to go back to the last game against Montreal, and obviously the Jackets get the big win, 5-4. But the comments that were made by Patrick Laine and the response by the Jackets, the players on the ice, Zach Werenski afterwards, and the organization by not playing the tribute video that they had planned. What were your thoughts on everything that transpired with Patrick Laine at Nationwide the other day?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of unfortunate, that it ended up that way. Patrick was a guy that came here and played for the Blue Jackets. Things didn't work out. He had to leave for personal reasons, and he just said some things he probably didn't need to say, and the Blue Jackets players took it personally, and it's too bad because, I like Patrick. I mean, I think Patrick's a good-hearted person, and sometimes he just probably says some things he didn't need to say, and coming back to Columbus, he put himself in a situation where, I'm a believer that, you take the high road on a lot of things, and then sometimes if you feel a certain way in a certain moment, you probably shouldn't say much, and he was very direct with those words, and the Blue Jackets. That's one thing about hockey. I mean, it's a sport where your teammates read and hear things, and there's always a way to address things in practice or on the ice. And the Blue Jackets, were going to come out and win that game and play physical, and that's what they did. So unfortunately, hopefully Patrick's all right, and we'll see if he's back in the lineup this week. But for the Blue Jackets, yeah, there's a lot of pride in that locker room, and they weren't happy.
Jody, and Patrick was always a guy that was outspoken, even in his time with the Jackets, and was someone that reporters liked because he could give them a quote. But the Jackets and Canadians are done playing for the season, even if he was going to say something like that. Why would you do it right before a game and just give the opponent fuel to that fire?
Yeah, I don't know. And, I have no idea. That's again, I wouldn't have done it unless I was ready for a lot of action.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Patrick's very self-deprecating too. He's very hard on himself, and sometimes he just it can be a detriment to him, and he expects a lot of himself, and unfortunately, the timing was way off.
Jody, looking at Provorov's situation, what are the chances that the CBJ will re-sign him? And if they do trade him, how much can they get for him?
Yeah, they can probably get some pretty good. There's value in a first-round pick, a guy that's so versatile. And you think of Gavrikov a couple of years ago, went to L.A. You think of David Savard. You put Provorov in the same boat. You can get some. It depends on how desperate teams are for that push for the Stanley Cup playoffs, because when I think playoffs, I think a guy like Provorov would be a guy that is kind of that unsung hero. Blocking shots, hard to play against, move the puck, do whatever he's got to do for the team, stays healthy. So I think you could get a first-round pick for Provorov and maybe a player. And I think that's what you have to ask for here early in this process, because as teams shake out here and figure out that they are in the playoffs, or they are one of the top 10 teams, or this is the year to push all in, you're going to see teams really try to come after him. So the value should be extremely high right now for him, and I would be surprised either way. I would not be surprised either way. So if they sign him, not surprised, great. He's a good piece. He's low maintenance. He does his job. He's one of those great players that you want to have in an organization. If they trade him, I won't be surprised either. High value for him, get some assets, and look to build around the young core.
Jody, if they do trade Provorov, one of the things that would make that would lessen that blow is the fact that you have a young guy like Denton Matejchuk in the organization. He made his NHL debut the other night. It sounds like he's actually going to be skating on a pair with Provorov tonight. What have you seen from Denton in that, or what did you see from Denton in that first game?
Yeah, it's a different player, and I think you got to be careful in saying, another defenseman to slot him for Provorov, because, guys like Gavrikov, Savard, and Provorov, they're important pieces to the D-core. You think of Jack Johnson as well, penalty killing, a veteran guy, over 600 games in the National Hockey League, understands what it takes to be a pro at this level. Matejchuk, to me, is not Provorov. To me, he's a more offensive-minded, more gifted skater. He's got a little bit of Werenski in him where he can get up the ice there and find that open area. What I saw from him in the first game, he's confident. He had a few nerves early, I thought, which is understandable. It's a faster game. It's a more elite game at this level than the American Hockey League. But I really was impressed with what his ability is, and that's skating, passing, heads-up hockey, and now he's got the first one out of the way. Look for him tonight to be even more impactful.
Jody, is this about where you thought the team would be after 35 games?
Yeah. This is where I was hoping they would be. In the playoff race. Now, the East is kind of still a bit of a slogfest here, where there's no one that's really grabbed that wild card position. Teams have underachieved. A lot of teams have underachieved. Teams have overachieved a little bit in some situations, but I like where they're at. They're just out of the playoff picture. I expect them to push here to be in that playoff picture towards the end of the year. But, yeah, this is where I thought they'd be.
Jody, a lot has been made of Zach Werenski and the year he's had this year. It's been great. He's solidified himself as one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. But Kirill Marchenko has taken his game to another level. He's really committed to the defensive end. He seems to be more physical, harder on pucks, and he's also shown a little bit more playmaking. We always knew he could score goals, but his playmaking has been there as well. 37 points through 35 games. What's the biggest change you've seen in the Kirill Marchenko that's on the ice now?
Well, I think he's a player that's worked at that offensive game, but also away from the puck. I think he's a guy that understands the battle to get the puck back is an important part of anyone's game to be offensive. He's better with Monahan. I think Monahan is a guy he wants to play with. I think that's something that's really helped him and Voronkov, where, he's a guy that smooths it out for him a little bit. Plays are extended in the offensive zone. Plays are quicker out of their own end because of Monahan. I think he loves that fit. And when you have a player like that who understands the work away from the puck and enjoys playing with a centerman the way he does, or understands it, I think that's the benefit of and why he's benefiting on this year. But also you have to give him credit for the work he's put in.
Similar question about Kent Johnson. He's obviously improved and, came into the league, number 5 overall pick, tons of skill. But what's led to his improvement, Jody?
You know what? He is now healthy. I think he's gotten a little stronger, but also he's gotten less, he liked to really slow the game down as he got the puck, but you watch him play now. As he gets the puck, he explodes into it. And that's an important aspect of finding time and space for yourself in the National Hockey League. He's got to be able to create more space for himself, and I think he's done that. He's gotten quicker, and it's because he's more straight ahead. And if you think about it, all teams back check hard. So as he would get the puck the last couple of years, he would just look at the defenseman in front of him, and he'd be caught by the back checkers coming from behind. But now he gets the puck and he's gone, and he kind of creates more time and space for himself, and that's what he's using out there. And his confidence now, he says he's always been confident, but I think his confidence is at an all-time high, and that doesn't hurt anybody.
Jody, the Bruins got off to a little bit of a rough start this year, especially for them, but they've been pretty hot in the month of December. They've won 4 of their last 5 points in all 5 of those games. What do the Jackets have to do tonight to cool the Bruins off?
Yeah, they're good defensively, and they're a team that has that powerful punch. They're back to the way that they've played in the past. The first 20 games, they were very inconsistent. They were kind of looked a little lost at times. But they changed their coach. Jim Montgomery's gone. Joe Sacco is in there as the head coach. And the Blue Jackets need to really stay with it. They want to come out and pound tonight, the Bruins do, and kind of chip away at you and wear you down. I think the Blue Jackets have to be ready for that. Now, they did fly in this morning at 7:30. So the Blue Jackets might have an advantage. Usually you have to come in the night before the game for teams, but with the Christmas break, no travel allowed the 24th, 25th, 26th. So they had to wait till today. So that might be a slight advantage here. Look for the Blue Jackets maybe to come out early in this one, get some jump.
Jody, who do we get in goal tonight, and who's your pick to click?
Elvis Merzlikins is back in net, and I'm going to go with, let's see, tonight. Well, Damon Severson was a healthy scratch last game. Let's see if he lights it up tonight for the Blue Jackets as that offensive defenseman.
All right, Jody, thanks so much. Always appreciate your time. Enjoy the game tonight against Boston, and safe travels to play Boston again tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Former Blue Jacket and current CBJ analyst Jody Shelly, a little Shelly time on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We talked about bids where we thought Ohio State had an advantage in the Rose Bowl game. Where does Oregon have an advantage, we feel? We'll get into that coming up next. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
I went to My Computer Career because I needed job security.
Because I wanted a career in cybersecurity.
I went to My Computer Career because IT jobs are everywhere.
My old job was going nowhere.
I went because I didn't want college loans for the rest of my life.
Because I wanted a career for the rest of my life.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Classes available online or in person. Financial aid available for qualified students, including the GI Bill. 529 college savings plans accepted.
Not available in Washington State.
What are your plans this winter? Snowy walk in the park? Curl up by the fire with a nice book? Get stuck in the hospital with COVID-19? If that last one isn't in your plans, and surely it's not, then consider getting an updated vaccine. Because if you're 65 or older, you're 14 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19 than someone under 50. So get your updated vaccine and make the most of this winter. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Toyota-thon is on. The perfect time to shop for a new SUV with more all-wheel drive choices than anyone else, like the family-size Highlander and the bigger, more powerful Grand Highlander. Now through January 6th, get any new Highlander or Grand Highlander with 5.99 APR financing up to 72 months, including hybrid models with $1,657 per thousand borrowed, subject to approved credit through TFS. For complete details, go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy, a bit breezy and warmer this afternoon with temperatures in the low 50s. A few showers through the late afternoon and evening, tapering off overnight. Saturday, a warm day, highs in the low 60s, mostly cloudy. Rain overnight Saturday into Sunday. Sunday stays warm with highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Mike Joyce on 97.1 The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
Vince, I don't think we can say it enough. 5 days away. 5 days from the rematch. Ohio State, Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Man, that first game, it was so close. 1 point, a slide that maybe you get down a half second earlier, you get a shot at a field goal. I don't know how confident we are in Ohio State making a field goal, but at least a shot at winning the game. And we mentioned you lose the turnover battle. You lose the penalty battle. You still only lose by one after traveling cross country to their place. I don't think there's any doubt. These are the two most talented football rosters in college football. Does that mean they're the two best teams? I don't know if that does or not. But talent-wise on the field, it is not going to get any better than what we see in Pasadena.
And you see other teams that are like legit contenders that are banged up. I mean, like, Notre Dame unfortunately lost their best defensive lineman. Georgia, not that Carson Beck was exactly having a good year, but Georgia losing Carson Beck, even Georgia losing their like All-American punter, things like that, like can end up being like a big thing. So, Now, Ohio State obviously lost 2 offensive linemen, but we're talking about like recently. Recently, they've had good luck with injuries, and Oregon enters this game healthy. So, yeah, what advantages does Oregon have in this game over Ohio State? We talked about Ohio State's advantages over Oregon earlier. I mean, the number one thing, obviously, is Oregon's defensive line, which is very good. And will be at full strength in this game against Ohio State's offensive line. Now, is Ohio State's offensive line coming off a really good performance? Heck yeah, they are. They got the job done and then some. Ryan, I was thinking, man, if they can just have a stalemate against Tennessee's defensive line, could be a good night for Ohio State against the Vols. Well, they didn't have a stalemate. They got the better of that matchup. Now, but I'm going to go back to what I said. If they can have a stalemate against this Oregon defensive line, I think Ohio State's going to have a really good afternoon/evening, because that's definitely my biggest concern. Now, they did a good job of scheming around it. But I do think, as much as people talked up Tennessee's defensive line entering that game, to me, Oregon's defensive line is definitely better. Definitely better, in my opinion.
And it's funny that you went there first, because the two things that I put down, or the thing that I put number one, not just the defensive line, but I put the interior on both lines, their defensive line and their offensive line. From the game that I watched back when they played the first time, Oregon's offensive line, especially the center and guard, it seemed, were blowing Ohio State off the ball. Every time they were getting a push 3 or 4 yards down the field on Ohio State's defensive line. That's just the interior of their O-line. And then I thought maybe the biggest difference maker in the game, the first game, was Derek Harmon, the transfer from Michigan State, on the interior of the defensive line for Oregon. He was a game wrecker. He was a monster. And Tyleik Williams, and I can't say that I've watched every Oregon football game start to finish, and we've seen games where Tyleik Williams does the same thing for Ohio State. It may not be there as consistently, though. I don't know. Derek Harmon, though, in that first game was a problem. And that was when you still had Seth McLaughlin, and you had Donovan Jackson obviously playing at left guard where he normally is. Now you've got Carson Hinsman, and I think Carson Hinsman's a pretty good player. I think probably he should have been playing all year long. It's kind of ridiculous to me that he wasn't. But Luke Montgomery, he showed out well. We talked about the pro football grades yesterday. He was the highest graded offensive lineman for Ohio State when he was in there. So only 31 snaps, actually, which was surprising to me. But him at that left guard. Tegra Shabola probably played his best game in a long time against Tennessee the other night when he was in at right guard. I think it's going to be tough for this Ohio State offensive line with this defensive line. And remember, last time Ohio State played them, Biddle, Jordan Birch wasn't there. Jordan Birch is there now. Uyunglele has had a great year for them. Derek Harmon. I think in the trenches, Oregon has an advantage, and that's the thing that scares me the most about this game.
Oregon has Derek Harmon, who's projected as a first-round pick at D tackle. They have an offensive lineman that's widely projected as a first-round pick. They are good in the trenches. This is not your father's or your older brother's Oregon. This is a physical Oregon team. And I know the first game was high scoring, but still, Oregon's good on both sides of the line. And now, yeah, I mean, you at least had the best center in the country on your side the first time around. And are you fortunate to have Carson Hinsman as your backup when you lose McLaughlin? Yeah, you're fortunate. But still, you'd rather have the Remington Award winner in there like they did the first matchup. So, yeah, I think Ohio State's going to come out with a close victory, but that's certainly my biggest concern is, can they win the battle of the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball?
Where else do you think Oregon might have an advantage in this matchup?
Well, I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks, I think Will Howard's had a really good year, but you'd have to say Dylan Gabriel's better than Will Howard, right? And it's the most important position on the field. Now, that doesn't mean Will Howard can't have a better game than Dylan Gabriel. Will Howard had a fantastic game against Tennessee. Some of those passes he threw, you could not have placed them any better. You could not have gone and handed the ball to Emeka Egbuka any better. You could not have handed the ball to J.J. Smith any better. So it's not a knock on Will Howard, but Dylan Gabriel was a Heisman finalist. So you'd have to, just being real, you'd have to say they had the advantage at quarterback. Now, the quarterbacks are not playing against each other, but, a lot of times, whoever plays best at quarterback, their team's going to win the game. I'm not breaking news there. So that's an advantage Oregon has. I don't think there's a wide gap, but there's a gap.
I think it's funny how intertwined Dillon Gabriel and Will Howard have been the last 2 years, because obviously Dillon Gabriel was at Oklahoma last year, Will Howard at Kansas State. Dillon Gabriel, the quarterback, first-team quarterback, all Big 12 last season. Will Howard was number 2 this year. Dillon Gabriel, the first-team all Big 10 quarterback, and Will Howard was number 3, because we know Curtis Rourke from Indiana had such a great year. The first game between these two teams was their stats are very close in the game. Gabriel, 23 of 34, 341 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Will Howard, 28 of 35, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns. Gabriel, a 97.1 QBR. Will Howard, a 95.1. But watching that game, to me, and I don't know what it was, Dillon Gabriel just seemed a little more dangerous.
He also had that rushing touchdown.
He did have a rushing touchdown. He was very good with his legs in that game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's not a guy that's going to major in that, but he can do that. Now, Will Howard can do it too. We haven't seen as much as maybe we thought we would this year. But yeah, I mean, he's a good college quarterback. Would I want him as my NFL quarterback? No, he's too small. He's 5'10", but he's a heck of a good college quarterback, and he's a gamer. You know, Dillon Gabriel is a gamer, and I've been impressed with him. I didn't think – I knew he was good. I didn't think he was quite as good as he is. Now, is he tremendous? I'm not going to go that far. And I think Ohio State's defensive line will get more pressure on him, which is a low bar. They hardly got any pressure on him, make him more uncomfortable. And, you know, they did a good job batting passes down against a 6'6" quarterback in Nico. Keep in mind, Dillon Gabriel's 5'10". Bat some passes down, man.
And hopefully they get that pressure on Gabriel like they did on Nico with this revamped defensive philosophy from that game. Another place I think Oregon has an advantage, and unfortunately for Ohio State, this is most games, is special teams. I think Oregon's just a little cleaner and a little crisp in the special teams game, and we mentioned that last game. It could have come down to a last-second field goal. How confident would we have been that Ohio State was going to capitalize on that? I think the special teams is a big advantage for Oregon.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Ohio State talked all offseason about, like, you know, sharpening up special teams, but, like, yeah, it just seems like it's another one of those things. You should not be going into a game as an Ohio State fan and saying, as long as, you know, we don't get crushed in the turnover battle or the special teams battle, that'll be good. Like, Ohio State should be going in there thinking, okay, we're going to win the special teams battle. Yeah. But it's like, you know, again, it's one of those things, if they can just, like, not hurt themselves in the special teams battle, that'd be a good thing for Ohio State. And that should never be the case at Ohio State.
And it's so funny because I remember the time of Jim Tressel when special teams was something Ohio State excelled at. It was never an issue. I remember Chris Olave's, you know, and Terry McLaurin's dominating special teams for Urban Meyer, and it just doesn't seem to have the same emphasis for Ohio State now. And in a close game, that special teams advantage is huge. And here's another thing where I think Oregon has an advantage. And Ohio State has cleaned this up a little bit with some of the more aggressive play calling on defense, obviously, the second half of the season. And obviously what we saw from Chip Kelly in the Tennessee game. Oregon goes out there and coaches to win. I know that for a fact. We saw it. They pulled a special teams, an onside kick that was huge in that first game. They pushed the ball downfield. You talked about earlier, the NCAA had to change rules because Dan Lanning was taking, you know, playing by them and using them to his advantage.
Good coaching.
Oregon, if this game, maybe not even if it comes down to it late and it's close, Oregon, I think, is going to coach this game to win. I don't know if Ohio State will do that. I hope they do, but...
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Tennessee game. Like, Day was aggressive, but there wasn't a situation where Tennessee came back there in the second quarter, but there wasn't a situation like late in the fourth quarter where Ohio State had to, like, keep the pedal to the metal, and they did it. You know, we haven't seen them do it. Against Georgia 2 years ago, they played a great game. They really should have won that game, but they, at the very, very, very end, after CJ's long run, then they got conservative. They didn't get, you know, try to get close enough for the field goal. So, you know, until he proves it, Ryan Day's going to have that, you know, that kind of stench on him that, okay, he can't he's going to choke if the game is close at the end and it's a big game. Now, if they can get past Oregon, I mean, that's going to go away quickly, but he's got to prove it first.
I don't think it goes away quickly, but it surely helps, right?
Well, if they win it all, I should say. If they go on to win it all, yeah.
And again, in a close game, that coaching style matters. So those are some things that really scare me in this game with Ohio State playing Oregon. We'll get a little more in-depth look of the Ducks coming up next. Matt Preem. He covers the Oregon Ducks for Ducks Live and 24/7 Sports. He joins us next, and actually, he joins us in 2 minutes. It's Bishop and Friends on the Fan.
During the Ram Wrap Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of Ram trucks. Right now, well-qualified lessees get a low-mileage lease on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4 for $469 a month for 42 months with $3,652 due at signing. Tax, title, license extra. No security deposit required. Call 1-877-RAM-5722 for details. Requires dealer contribution and lease through Stellantis Financial. Extra charge for miles over 35,000. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
It's bonus card season at Twin Peaks. Stuff your friends and family stockings with the ultimate gift card and get a little something in return for yourself. For every $25 you purchase, you'll receive a $5 bonus card. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Hey, it's Anthony, and the Happy Honda Days are powering through the holidays at Germain Honda of Dublin. Rich is delivering all of the new Honda toys, including the new Prologue, the first all-electric SUV from Honda at 0% APR up to 72 months. Also, he's throwing you 0.9% up to 60 months on most new Hondas. And he won't even require a payment on the new purchases for 90 days. Go get the Honda of your holiday dreams with my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Airflow Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Yes, you are. Ryan Baker, Dave Biddle, Cole Bartemus in for the guys. Let's head out on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline now and talk to Matt Preem. He covers the Ducks for Ducks Territory. I think I said Ducks Live heading into the break. Ducks Territory and 24/7 Sports. Matt, thanks for taking some time and joining us. It's a big deal, and I think people here in Columbus, we've been expecting this rematch since that first game. I think we kind of thought it would be in the Big Ten Championship. Instead, now it's in the college football playoff. Are the people out in Eugene, have they been expecting this rematch as well?
Yes and no. I think a lot of them, like you said, expected it to be in the Big Ten Championship. And when the Big Ten Championship didn't include the two teams, there was probably an idea that the seedings wouldn't line these teams up this early. But if we're talking about the Tennessee and the Ohio State matchup, everyone out here was this is Oregon, Ohio State 2.0 all the way. There was zero confidence out here that Tennessee was going to win that game, and there should there have been.
When you look at Oregon's draw, Matt, like the average Oregon fan, I know I'm asking you to speak for the entire fan base here, but like Oregon fans kind of ticked off here, the number one seed, and this is the draw we get. I mean, like what's the average Oregon fan thinking about that?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of anger in terms of it being a little unfair in terms of the quality of the opponent, but at the same time, every fan base kind of follows the mantra of their head coach or their star player or their GM or their owner, whatever team we're talking about in sports. And Dan Lanning quickly came out and was just like, so if our path has to be tougher, so be it. We'll be viewed as even a better team if we get through all of that. And that quickly kind of, I guess, the wave kind of hit the fan base. And there's no one out here is thinking Oregon's just going to steamroll through everybody, but they are the only team in college football that's undefeated. They are the number one seed. They are the most consistent team in college football this season. And so there is a level of confidence of discussion out here from the fan base and from the media that if they win against Ohio State and if they play Texas, which is just another brutal draw, by the way, in Dallas, if whoever comes out of this has to go probably play Texas in Dallas. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then potentially you could play Georgia in Georgia. Like that's just the murderer's row for not just Oregon, but for Ohio State too. Whoever has to get through here. And this argument would probably line with Ohio State, should line with Ohio State. Whoever gets through this game, and if they go all the way, they should be in discussion of maybe being one of college football's best teams in the modern era, considering the teams that you had to beat to get here.
Speaking with Matt Preem on the Brian Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. He covers the Oregon Ducks for 24/7 Sports. Biddle and I earlier went over where we thought Ohio State had advantages in this game and where we thought Oregon had advantages in this game. Where's a place or two that you think Oregon is better than Ohio State and can take advantage of, and where are they weak that Ohio State can take advantage of?
Well, I think some of the weak points, and I don't know if the weak point is the correct way to describe it. It's just more of an ode to how damn good Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka are. I mean, look, Jabbar Muhammad can't cover both guys at the same time. He's Oregon's top cover guy. He will be a late round NFL dude. But in that first game, Nico Reed, Dante Manning, two guys who coming into the season were viewed as weak points, and they have played exceptionally well all year long. Nico Reed in particular. And that was kind of Nico Reed's coming out game. And sometimes you see this often in sports where a guy kind of has an out-of-body experience or maybe has an out-of-norm experience for a stretch of games. I remember going back, this was a long time ago, covering an Oregon basketball team that made the NCAA tournament. And there was a senior on that team that one of the coaches came to me after the year was over and was just kind of like, unbelievable year by this kid. I don't know if he could ever do that again. It just, everything lined up perfectly. And I don't know if that's going to be Nico Reed's description for this season. Can he replicate playing unbelievable good football against the best receiving core tandem in college football? That's going to be a question for me. And then another one is Oregon right guard, Dave Ayuli, did not start against Ohio State the first time. It was their full-time starter, Marcus Harper. He got hurt early in November against Michigan. He played in the Big Ten championship game against Penn State, came off the bench. Him and Dave Ayuli kind of shared the rotation. What do they do there? That's kind of a question. You know, both are going to play. Harper's healthy. It's not like he's still lingering or anything like that. But is he all the way back, or does Dave Ayuli get the start and they share it? And then I guess the other flip side, something that people aren't talking about is the trenches. Oregon's defensive line held up really well against that Ohio State offense, and they generated pressure, and they didn't have to blitz a ton to generate pressure on Will Howard. And now in this second game, Ohio State won't have Josh Simmons at left tackle, who got hurt in that first one, unfortunately. Their starting center's not going to be available, and I know they've had opportunity to kind of gel here a little bit. But Oregon's also, they didn't play with their best defensive lineman that first game, Jordan Birch, and he's now healthy. He got hurt in the week leading up to the Ohio State game in practice. What kind of impact can he have? He had 8.5 sacks in 9 games. That's a huge number, and would probably have been an all-conference player, whether it be third team or second team, had he stayed healthy and didn't miss 4 of Oregon's 13 games, he plays, what's the impact he's going to have?
Yeah, you mentioned the situation at right guard. Sounds like overall Oregon's in very good shape health-wise entering this game.
Oh, absolutely. There's from a player perspective that will have an impact on this game. There isn't anybody that we know of that's hurt, and there isn't anybody that's, hey, this is week 1 of coming back from injury and being able to play now. Everyone's had essentially since the Big Ten championship game. Just opportunity to get healthy and to build on being back for this Ohio State game. They were at full strength against Penn State, and that was the game where it was the first time back for 1 or 2 guys, or it was the second game back for a guy like Tez Johnson. So they've had almost a month now to build off that. And so they're coming into this one fully healthy. They have no excuse to come out and say, well, this guy was hurt, so we couldn't do this.
Only 5 days away. It's so exciting, Matt. And I'm curious what the fan split's going to be at the Rose Bowl. Ohio State fans travel very well, but are they going to travel well to this game? I'm guessing it's going to be something like 60-40 Oregon. What's your guess?
I was actually kind of putting it the other way.
Okay.
I've seen Ohio State play Oregon in Austin this year, and then in the Big Ten, not in the Big Ten, but in the national championship in 2014, and then at the Rose Bowl in 2009. And it's just a bigger fan base, and they've got a big chunk of fans out west already. I think it's going to be pretty evenly split. It might tick a little bit towards Oregon, but if this was Tennessee or if this was a different school, I would say this is going to be a massive Oregon showing. But I will argue in Oregon's favor, and the other 3 teams also got buys. Their fan bases all had basically 3 or 4 weeks to kind of sit here and formulate a plan. Can we afford to go? Can we find lodging? Do we drive? Do we fly? How do we get here to whatever game that we're playing in? Whereas the other 4 teams that have now made it, they've had 10 days to decide, 11 days to really decide if they're going to go. And sure, you could throw some money down and ahead of time, but that's a huge hassle. That's a huge money commitment. So I expect it to be maybe a tick in favor of Oregon, but I don't know. I've gone to these games before where Ohio State's Big Red fan base shows up and they dominate the stands.
Well, Matt, if it's anything like the first game, it's going to be a classic in Pasadena. Thanks so much for taking the time and giving us a little look inside the Oregon Ducks. We look forward to it on Wednesday evening.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
That is Matt Preem. He covers the Oregon Ducks for 24/7 Sports, joining us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We wrap up this Football Friday like we do every day here on Bishop and Friends. It's a little 3 things next, 97.1 The Fan.
Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass. Your tight end groups, led by G. Scott, with the way they played against Tennessee. Was that an ultimate production group from all of those guys, from everything they did, blocking and catching?
Well, that's, they're asked to do a lot of different job descriptions, and so they have to carry a heavy workload each week. In the run game, pass game, we've talked about this before. They got to run routes like receivers, block like offensive linemen, protect like running backs. But they're often found, one-on-one situations, and so when those guys can create separation for us there, it's just one more weapon for Will to go to. Certainly, when some of the other guys are gathering a lot of the attention.
Okay, we'll have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Light Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelight.com. Safe Light Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams. The agile, get it done teams. The achieve more together teams. And the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Learn more about Ohio State at osu.edu/impact.
Another person to ask you about is Cody Simon with the way he's played. As he's played the last month or so of the season, is it kind of the definition of how you'd like to see a leader and a captain and a senior play, Ryan?
Yeah, you can feel him every day in the building, the way he meets, the way he talks to his teammates, the way he leads at practice. I think, it was said at senior day, he does everything right. How else can you describe him? He just does everything right as a person. And he wears the block O for a reason. He represents what it means to be a Buckeye. He's proud to be a Buckeye, and he plays really, really hard when he's out there for his teammates. And he's a guy that's put a lot of work into this program. And, he wants to do a great job here finishing out this thing the right way for not only himself, but also for his teammates. And somebody that we all can be proud of.
There's the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. It's that time of year. The red bows are out. Do, 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 do. Right now, it's their final sale. Best pricing all year. Take advantage of 1.9% financing up to 48 months or 2.99% up to 60 months on ES, NX, and RX models. Plus, the biggest rebates of the year are here on remaining 2024 models because they got to get the 2025s in. Jermaine Lexus, Dublin and Easton. JermaineLexus.com.
Make your New Year's Eve celebration and football watch party a good deal better with Meijer. Fresh guac is always a hit. Mix up a batch with extra large fresh avocados. Now buy one, get one free. And Meijer tortilla chips are a perfect match. Assorted Meijer chips are 3 for $6 when you buy 3 or more. And Coca-Cola and Pepsi 12 packs are buy 2, get 1 free. Plus deposit where applicable. Bring more good to your holiday celebrations at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See the Meijer app for details.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bids, we got in here and we got started talking about things, and I didn't even ask Cole if he had the fan poll ready, but I know he does. He has the daily fan poll.
He knows
ready
you're going to
go.
forget to ask him.
Oh, yeah. Let me, I had this up for sure. Nope, I don't have it. I thought I could get away with it.
Friday.
Look at this. I got it right here, actually, so I'll do it. Today's fan poll at 971thefan.com. How much of today's bowl games will you watch? I'll check in some. I'll watch one full game. It's not the CFP. I'll be checking in some, so I'm going to be here all day until about 6 o'clock tonight. So I'll be in there while I'm running the board for Man and Bone and I'll have bowl games up on the TV, so I'll check in some for sure.
I'll be checking in as much as I can, but I have a lot of work to do for the full-time job after this. There's a press conference going. Yeah, there's a press conference going on right now with Jim Knowles and the defensive players. I'm going to do a story on Jim Knowles. Then, there's an open practice window at 4 o'clock today for Ohio State football, so I'll be tuning into some for sure.
Baker, if you were at home, would you be watching these games?
I would check in a little bit.
If the TVs were not right in front of you at work?
I'm not going to lie. Like, I wouldn't sit down and watch one of them fully, but I would be checking in, bouncing in and out of things for sure. So, time for a little three things.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
So, guys, I don't know if you can tell or not by the last couple days, but 5 days away from the Rose Bowl, I am way more excited about this game and amped up and ready for this game than I ever thought I would be. This is probably the most juiced I am for an Ohio State football game in a long, long time. Maybe that Georgia game, but I'm not even sure about that. It might even be the Clemson game when Justin Fields went wild because of the revenge factor in that. I am super amped for this Ohio State game, and I'm also, Bids, I'm super nervous. Like, I personally do not expect Ohio State to win. I saw the first game, and there's a lot of things I'm worried about, but I'm super pumped for this game.
My first thing is I'm kind of pumped for the Bengals game tomorrow. Can't say I'm ever super pumped. But no, I do think
playoffs on the line.
The Bengals have dug themselves too big of a hole, and they absolutely should be a playoff team, but they're not going to be. They haven't been mathematically eliminated, but a lot has to go right. I do think they're going to win tomorrow. And they're going to beat the Broncos, so they're going to stay alive. They're going to be 8-8, and then the Steelers will beat them in Pittsburgh, and they'll finish 8-9. And even if they get lucky and beat the Steelers, they're not going to get in the playoffs because now the Chiefs are going to be resting all their players. So either way, I think the Broncos are going to get in. But it'll be fun seeing the Bengals play tomorrow. I hope. Burrow and Chase have been so much fun to watch this year. They're putting up historic numbers, but let's get the rest of the team to play well. Chase Brown's been good. Defense has been pretty bad all year.
The inaugural Sean Alexander Award was in 2018, and since then, every single winner has played in a city that has an accent. Trevor Lawrence in Clemson, Kenneth Gainwell at Memphis, Will Anderson, Alabama, Brock Bowers, Georgia, Drake May, North Carolina, Caleb Downs, Bama. Some of those I can't even question for sure, but I'm just saying, we were playing the geography game a little bit earlier. By the way, Sean Alexander, 1 wife, 13 children.
Oh, wow. He's kept her busy.
I mean, that's Tyreek Hill-esque right there, isn't it?
No.
13 with 10.
One wife. No, not like Tyreek Hill. No.
So it's more Phillip Rivers.
This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. For those that don't know, these awards, like Bolitnikov's a great example, are given out by just these southern dudes who live in Tallahassee. And then you got, like, Tuscaloosa gives out this fictitious, Freshman of the Year award. Like, give me a break. Again, Columbus Touchdown Club needs to give out the Freshman of the Year award now after this nonsense.
I love it.
Call it the Jeremiah Smith Award.
Are we going to do it at the Villa Milano?
That sounds good to me.
Guys, these next couple days here for the CBJ heading into the new year, this back-to-back tonight with Boston and then tomorrow in Boston and then New Year's Eve. Those are always great games at Nationwide against the Carolina Hurricanes, 2 of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. This is going to be a measuring stick, I feel, for the CBJ. I don't know how many points they're going to get out of it, but I hope they continue to at least look the part like they have most of the season. You're going to get to see Denton Matejchuk against these guys, which will be good. Elvis getting a start, maybe Jet Greaves tomorrow, measure these goalies against these teams a little bit. I'll tell you what, if the Jackets can somehow pull out 4 points out of these next couple of games heading into the new year, I'm going to feel pretty good about the rest of the season. They may not make the playoffs, but they're going to make it fun. They're going to be competitive, and it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to these next 3 games.
I'm a Jackets fan. You're a diehard Jackets fan. I got to say, man, I am encouraged about the direction of this franchise for the first time in a long time. Like the new regime, new GM, new head coach. I like what they're doing. great young nucleus of players. I just think it's going to come together for them in the next couple of years, and I like where they're at this year. All right, my second thing, the aforementioned Ohio State open practice today. Guys, I think clearly I'm going to know after watching this practice window if Ohio State's going to win the game or not, because I'm going to see stretching, and I'm going to see 2, maybe 3 periods of very light drills. So I'll have a good feel for where the Buckeyes are at. I'm being facetious. It will be nice being out there. The CFP mandates that they open a 15-minute window for us, or they would give us 0 minutes, and we would like it. So I'll take my 15 minutes. It'll be good seeing some Buckeyes on the practice field today around 4 o'clock.
So I'm watching NFL Network in here on one of the TVs, and they were rolling some Brock Bowers highlights, which got me thinking. I think Brock Bowers is probably the greatest college tight end in my lifetime. Born in 99, I think he's it. So that made me kind of go, look, okay, who are the highest drafted tight ends in my lifetime?
Kyle Pitts.
There you go. Number 1. If I had the ding ready, I'd give it to you.
And look at some of the players who went right after him. Jamar Chase, Penei Sewell,
Jalen Waddle,
yeah.
Penei Sewell.
Yeah, but especially Chase and Sewell. I mean, Waddle, okay, whatever. But, man, what a terrible pick by the Falcons. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. The Browns are represented here because tied for second is Kellen Winslow Jr.
Oh, boy.
The effing soldier, as he calls himself. And he's tied with Vernon Davis. And
he was a monster.
Yeah.
Can't win with him. Can't do it.
Exactly. Biddle. So, I think it would be like tied for 12th or whatever, but the Bengals drafted 2 tight ends, both 21st overall.
Jermaine Grisham and Tyler Eifert.
Bingo.
I remember my bad draft picks. Actually, if Eifert didn't get hurt, he was actually good.
I was going to say Tyler Eifert wasn't bad.
Yeah.
He just got too banged up. Tyler Eifert was actually pretty good. Yeah.
And of the top 10, 3 of them were Lions picks. Eric Ebron, Brandon Pettigrew, and TJ Hawkinson. So basically, they would just draft a tight end first round, not sign him to a second contract, and then just draft a new tight end first round.
They were good about drafting a lot of wide receivers and tight ends there for a while. Finally worked out for them.
Matt Millen, oh my God.
My third thing, guys, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I am judging Ohio State by this Oregon game. Like, Penn State, Indiana, sorry, no offense. In my mind, you're not really top 5 games. I know that you were ranked there at the time, but Ohio State, you were being judged by Oregon and by Michigan this year. Michigan, you lost. The defense at least did its part. So Jim Knowles, Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, I am judging all of you by this Oregon game. You get another shot here. Handle your business.
My last thing, good luck to everybody in their fantasy football championship games. If you're there, I'm in a couple of them. Nail biters already. I'm about 50% chance in both of them. So I'll just take one of the 2 if I could make that deal. So good luck to everybody if you're in your fantasy football championship game weekend.
Up next, Rothman and Ice. They're going to take you 12-3, but it's really Ice and Depot. DeVere Posey's hanging out with Matty Ice and visiting them on the phone at 2:30 is going to be his running mate in college, Dane Sanzenbacher.
There we go.
Nice.
A couple of former Buckeye wide receivers. You heard it there from Cole. Rothman and Ice coming up next. Bids, it's been fun the past couple of days. Thank you to you. Thank you to Cole. And thank you to everyone out there for listening. This has been Bishop and Friends, 97.1 The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. This is a fan action update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com. Use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. We got bowl action all day on this Friday. Perhaps the most interesting ones, USC is about a field goal underdog against Texas A&M tonight, and Cal McCord and Syracuse are about a 2-touchdown favorite over Washington State. For your Prime Sports action update, I am Scotty Vegas.
Hey, I'm Brett Podolsky, co-founder of The Farmer's Dog. We make fresh food for dogs. We started the company when we saw what a huge difference it made in my own dog, Jada, when she stopped eating ultra-processed kibble and started eating fresh, whole food. The Farmer's Dog food isn't fancy. It's just real food, delivered to your door in pre-portioned packs. It's better for them and easier for you.
Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/trial50. That's thefarmersdog.com/trial50.
My name is Luke Bryan. Country music is my life, and I want to share it with y'all.
It's All Country is now streaming on Hulu.
And with the help of Luke Combs, Kane Brown, Lady A, Winona Judd, Sheryl Crow, and Mickey Guyton, we're going to explore everything country.
You couldn't ask for anything more than that.
When everybody brings their story, it really becomes something special. That is the beautiful side of country music.
In the end, it's all country.
It's All Country. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.